From ABC Sports Control, New York, Jim Lampley.
Good afternoon. One of the things most of us either love or hate about the National Football League is its balance. Sometimes it seems every team is a threat to go 8-8. Well, for better or for worse, we don't have that in the USFL, where after last week's games, 6 of the league's 18 teams were 6-1 on the season. We're showcasing 3 of them for you today. You'll see either Arizona 3-4 at New Jersey, 6-1 with Herschel Walker back today, or 6-1 Birmingham at 6-1 Michigan. And for more on those games, let's go to either Tim Brandt in Pontiac or Keith Jackson in New Jersey.
This is week number 8 in the United States Football League. Today's game has the Birmingham Stallions 6-1, the co-leaders in the Southern Division, against the defending champion Michigan Panthers 6-1 on top in the Central Division. Now, these two clubs have played each other twice before. The first game was March 7th, 1983. It was won by Michigan on 3 field goals by Novo Bojovic, 2 from 49 yards. The final in that one was 9-7, Michigan. But then they met again on May 23rd. And in the second meeting between the two clubs, the game was even at the end of regulation play. And then Scott Norwood won it for Birmingham with this 46-yard kick. The two games decided by a total of 5 points. They are extremely evenly matched, Birmingham and Michigan. Hello again, everybody. I'm Tim Brandt. And when you talk about these two clubs, we have, without a doubt, 2 of the strongest teams in the United States Football League. Michigan, as I mentioned, is the defending champion. They've won 19 of their last 22 ball games, but they are coming off their first loss of this year, and their confidence could be shaken. Birmingham is the hottest club in the league. The Stallions have won 6 games in a row. They are 6-1. And if you look for reasons for that Stallion streak, just look at the turnover differential. They have forced 16 turnovers, committed only 8, and they've turned those turnovers into 66 points. Working with me again is Lee Grosscup. And Cupper, when you look at these two teams, it seems to me that they are very evenly matched, very similar in style.
Tim, they're very similar in almost every way that they approach the game, and I think you can attribute that mostly to the respective philosophies of their 2 head coaches, Jim Stanley and Raleigh Dodge, because you know that they are both very fundamental in their approach to the game.
You're right about that. Now, let's talk about the players. We'll start with the Birmingham quarterback being Cliff Stout.
Cliff Stout is a big physical quarterback out of Youngstown State. Got off to a shaky start in the opener against New Jersey. Improved the next week against the Los Angeles Express, and he's been the starter and leader for them ever since. He can throw deep, as you see right there, to Joey Jones. Best on the intermediate range passes, and he was the leading rushing quarterback in the National Football League last year. Joe Cribbs out of Auburn, everything they expected of him and more. He has given them something they did not have in 1983. That means that they have a game breaker at the running back position. They are the most effective running team in the league. I think in this man right here, number 20, you have perhaps the premier all-purpose back in the United States Football League.
Joe Cribbs has carried the ball 151 times already this year. The 3 top running backs for Michigan have carried it only 143 times, so there is a big difference there. Now we talk about the other side of the field, and we directly go to the quarterback there, Bobby Hebert.
Bobby Hebert, the Cajun Cannon, had his worst game as a professional last week against Oklahoma, so I think it's important for him to reestablish his confidence today. He has the arm you like. He can throw deep. Good mobility, as you see here. Also effective on the intermediate range passes. With Anthony Carter out of the lineup, he's going to be looking to Derek Holloway today as his big play man. Now, Holloway is a burner out of Arkansas, and pound for pound, he is the strongest man in professional football. The kicking game, of course, we know, Tim, is solid. Novo Bojovic, the leading kick scorer in the league with 57 points. Wears garlic in his sock. Demonstrative. And because he's a character type, I think we forget about the fact that he's such a fundamentally sound place kicker. He's strong, he's accurate, he does everything that you like of a place kicker, and he has won 3 games for his team in the last 2 years.
You talk about the players on this field, and there's no question in my mind that there's some top caliber talent. Players that could excel in both leagues, United States Football League or the USFL. The big story here in Michigan this week has been the signing of Panthers running back Ken Lacey to an NFL contract with the Kansas City Chiefs. Lacey's at the end of a 2-year contract here in Michigan. He was the first named player to jump leagues and go to the National Football League. He's a good one. 6'1", 220-pounder out of Tulsa. And now, as I said, he goes to the Chiefs. Jim Lampley will have more on that in just a minute back in New York. But first, very quickly, the defenses.
Defense is strong, led by 2 premier safeties. Chuck Clanton on the left, David Greenwood on the right. 2 outstanding athletes. They have it.
All right, Jim Lampley coming up in New York with the USFL report right after these messages. Coming up, it's Birmingham and Michigan.
Tim Lampley again in New York. The other game which will be played today in the USFL schedule finds Chicago, which has seen 5 of its 7 games decided on the last play against Philadelphia, another of the teams in the league which is 6-1 and which must play again today without Kelvin Bryant. Tomorrow night, Tampa Bay at New Orleans in an important Southern Division game. Tampa Bay almost must win if they want to stay in contention in the Southern Division. And the Houston Gamblers will play Oakland at Oakland. Oakland 0-7 and having exhibited no offense whatsoever so far. One team which does have an offense, the Denver Gold, which yesterday became the first of the 6-1s to reach 7-1. Coming from behind the second week in a row. Last week they fell down 14-0 in the first quarter. Yesterday they were down 21-0 at halftime to the Pittsburgh Maulers at Pittsburgh. And then in the fourth quarter, after they had gotten to within 21-13, Pittsburgh made the mistake which may have given away the ball game. Leading 21-13, the Maulers attempted to stretch that lead on a fake field goal play. Larry Swider throwing to Tony Lee. Wide open, Lee dropped the football. And after that, Denver was able to come back and tie the ball game. Substitute quarterback Bob Galliano throwing to Leonard Harris. The 2-point conversion tied it at 21. Then later, Kevin Williams scored on this 18-yard end around with 5 minutes left, and that gave Denver a 28-21 lead. They went on to win it 31-21 despite 137 yards rushing by Mike Rozier of Pittsburgh. Denver lost starting quarterback Craig Penrose with a knee injury. Also yesterday, Oklahoma's Outlaws moved to 6-2 on the season with a 2016 win over Hard Luck Washington. Again, the Federals appeared in a position to win the ball game. In the third quarter, Washington was leading 9-6 before only 6,085 fans in RFK Stadium. Reggie Collier, in for the injured Mike Hohensee, ran in from 2 yards out, and Washington now was on top 16-6. But Oklahoma has shown a penchant for coming back. Doug Williams, who passed for 333, hit Al Williams on this 43-yard touchdown pass. He saw the defensive back fall down. That made it 16-13. Then with less than a minute left, Williams threw this 8-yard touchdown pass to Ron Wheeler, and the Outlaws moved to 6-2 with the 20-16 win. They can tie Michigan in the Central Division if the Panthers lose to Birmingham today. L.A. snapped a 5-game home losing streak and got their first win with Steve Young at quarterback, 23-17 in overtime over Memphis. Memphis had taken the lead in the ball game at 17-14 in the fourth quarter on this touchdown run by Bernard Quarles. Quarles making Memphis a 3-point leader. Then, with less than a minute, or with only a little more than a minute left, Young appeared to win the game for L.A. with this touchdown run. It was called back, however, by a holding penalty. So a minute later, with 6 seconds on the clock, Tony Zendejas kicked this field goal that tied the game at 17. Memphis got the ball first in overtime and had the first chance to win it. Pepper Rogers' team tried a trick play, though, and Derek Crawford was intimidated by linebacker Wayman Henderson, gave up the football. David Howard recovered it. Steve Young ran it in from a yard out 2 plays later to win the ball game for the Express. Also yesterday, San Antonio surprisingly shut out Jacksonville 20-0 before 38,000 plus in the Gator Bowl. Quickly, the standings now in the Eastern Conference Atlantic Division. Generals and Philadelphia tied at 6-1. Both teams play today. Southern Division, Birmingham and New Orleans tied at 6-1. Birmingham at Michigan today. New Orleans with Tampa Bay tomorrow night. Central Division, Michigan a half game ahead of Oklahoma. They retain the lead if they can beat tough Birmingham today. Pacific Division, Denver on top alone at 7-1. 2 weeks ago, we saw the first instance of a USFL player jumping to the NFL when Oakland Invaders cornerback Kenny Daniels signed with the Giants. Bigger news of the same stripe this week. Michigan fullback Ken Lacey, one of the key players on that team, signed with the Kansas City Chiefs, a contract which will put him in action in a Chiefs uniform this fall. Lacey explained to us his rationale for jumping to the NFL this way.
Basically, I've been negotiating with the Kansas City Chiefs for a couple of months now, I guess since back in March, along with several other NFL teams. This is my final year on my contract with the Panthers, and the offer that they made me wasn't anywhere even close to Kansas City, and that was a business decision on my part, and I felt that was the best thing for me to do for me and my family at the time.
It was also reported this week that New Orleans linebacker Marcus Marek is talking with the Cincinnati Bengals back in the state where he played college football, Ohio. Marek says he's keeping his options open for now.
There's been a lot of extensive talks through my agent in Cincinnati, and he's been keeping me abreast of it. But I think, we've been talking with Randy, too, Randy Pataha, our president. And so it's hard to say right now, but it looks good that something could happen by the end of this week as far as whether I'll be in New Orleans.
Another player rumored headed for the NFL, Washington running back Craig James, who Thursday apparently asked for and was given his release by the Federals. James his twice injured knees, and his heavy contract, then cleared waivers through the entire USFL. He concedes he has initiated discussions with the New England Patriots of the NFL, the team which could reunite him with his former college coach at SMU, Ron Meyer. And this final piece of news, a New York Times sports banner headline this morning introduced a story which states that the USFL's long-range planning committee will decide to begin playing a fall schedule in 1987, the season which coincides with the negotiation of a new television contract for the rival NFL. USFL Commissioner Chet Simmons reached at home this morning, told me that indeed the 1987 fall schedule is one of the options which the league's owners are considering, that there are some owners who are in favor of playing a fall schedule, but that no decision has yet been made on that option. So that brings you up to date on everything which has happened through the week, and coming into this afternoon in the USFL, I'll be here throughout the rest of the day to keep you abreast of what's going on. You'll be going to your ball game after this.
ABC Sports presents week number 8 in the United States Football League. Today's game live from the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. It's the Birmingham Stallions 6-1 against the defending USFL champion Michigan Panthers. It's the USFL. This is the Silverdome. It is spacious. It holds 80,000 fans. We are expecting 50,000 here today. The Detroit area has experienced light rain throughout the weekend, but here it is climate-controlled. The field is synthetic turf, and the fast track down below is hard, but it's ready for play. I'm Tim Brandt, along with Lee Grosscup and Herb Wenches. Today we have two outstanding football teams. That is Birmingham, dressed in white, 6-1. You see their schedule there. It has been a tough one. They have had no pansies. New Jersey, of course, extremely strong, 6-1. Los Angeles young, and an upstart team, Pittsburgh, we saw them last week, is also strong. They beat Jacksonville 24-17 last weekend. On the other side of the field, we have the Michigan Panthers. Now, Michigan, as I mentioned earlier, has won 19 of 22 ball games, but they are coming off a 20-17 loss to Oklahoma. They have not played that strong of a schedule yet, although they have played Arizona. They have played the Pittsburgh club I just mentioned to you, but they have the strongest part of their schedule yet to come in the latter half of this season. But they are two good football teams, two outstanding talent teams that are just loaded. They are 6-1. Birmingham is getting stronger. We are waiting now to see if Michigan can rebound from the loss last weekend. Bobby Hebert, of course, is the quarterback. He was the most valuable player in the championship game at Denver against Philadelphia just last year. The numbers on him are very, very impressive. He is a heady quarterback. You'll watch during the ball game that he wears the plays on his wrist. The plays come from the sideline, but then he looks at his wrist and double checks the plays, and as he gets to the line of scrimmage, will read the defense, and then he will call an audible there. That suits the offense the best. Now, Cliff Stout has played with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know that. He is coming now into his own, I would say. He's just regaining confidence after a very tough experience with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And, of course, he was a great one at Youngstown State, Tim, where he broke most of the records previously set by Ron Jaworski and was the top rushing quarterback in the National Football League last year, so he's really a double threat.
The point I was going to make about his confidence, Lee Grosscup, is the fact that even though the Steelers were 10-6 last year and won the NFC Central Division title, he lost his confidence throwing 21 interceptions. And the stats didn't show it, but he was sacked 56 times. He's just now getting that confidence back. That is the kicker, Novo Biovic, as Michigan will kick off. And deep for Birmingham will be Earl Gant, who will wear 23, and Von Mansfield, who will wear number 45. It'll be Mansfield at the 6. Looks for a wedge. Busts out across the 20 to the 21. Good coverage by the special teams, and you can hear the crowd, which is very, very excited about its championship caliber team here in Michigan. So we set the offensive lineup for you. The Birmingham Stallions. Cliff Stout is the quarterback. Joe Cribbs, what a job he does as the running back out of Buffalo, the Bills. Leon Perry, the fullback. Joey Jones out of Alabama, the rookie. And Jim Smith, the veteran out of the Steelers, is your wide receiver. Darrell Mason, they'll go to him a lot at tight end. Then the offensive line is Pat Phoenix, 228. Pat Saindon, 223. Tommy Banks, 250. Buddy Idle at 263. And Robert Woods, 258. Not that big offensive line, but they are quick. It is a run-oriented offense, and they like to go to the right side. This is Perry. Nothing there. The defensive scheme you will see from Michigan is very sophisticated. They play stunts and blitzes, and they'll play games up front, combination, zones, and man. The front three, Alan Hughes, David Tipton, Larry Bethea of the Dallas Cowboys. Cal Borland, John Corker, Robert Pennywell, and Ray Bentley are your linebackers. And then the defensive secondary, one of the better ones in the league, Oliver Davis, Clarence Chapman, David Greenwood, and John Arnaud. David Greenwood is one of the best that you will see. John Banaszak has now come in for Alan Hughes. Second down and 9 for Cliff Stout. Long count. This is Cribbs. Cribbs gains 1, maybe 2, before Robert Pennywell, the linebacker out of Grambling, comes up and makes the stop.
Very typical of what Birmingham likes to do. 2 consecutive trap plays. They will trap more than any team in the league. We talked about the similarity of these two teams. Both teams like inside traps, long traps. And Joe Cribbs is probably now the key to the Birmingham offense. And for Michigan, the key to their game plan today, stop Joe Cribbs.
On 3rd and 6, Michigan goes to a nickel defense. Will Coakley comes in, number 58. Ron Osborne comes in, number 23. Now they show blitz. They bring John Corker outside. Cliff Stout will go down. It is John Corker on the sack, and listen to this crowd.
That is his first sack of the year. John Corker had only half a sack coming into today's game, but last season, as we look at John Corker at his linebacker position, he moves around a lot, he freelances. He was the leading sacker in the league last season, USFL Defensive Player of the Year. Closes in from the blind side on Cliff Stout and gets his first sack of the year. That's 1.5 sacks on the year for John Corker.
You're looking at Bobby Parsons. He is the punter for Birmingham. Walter Broughton and Bobby Futrell are the deep backs. It'll be Broughton. Broughton picks up a block, cuts inside, takes it to the 49-yard line, and that's where the Michigan Panthers will have it with excellent field position after a 35-yard punt. So Birmingham off to a shaky start. Michigan has excellent field position, and the Panthers will have the ball when we come back. They are still coming into the Silverdome. The crowd continues to grow. Michigan Panthers have the football, and this is Bobby Hebert, the quarterback. It is first down. In the first offensive series for the Panthers, starting up near midfield. And Lacey and John Williams. The give is to Williams. Gets a hole. Cuts out across midfield to the 44-yard line. Mike Murphy comes up and makes the tackle there. The offensive lineup for the Panthers. Bobby Hebert, the most valuable player in the championship game. His running backs, John Williams, Ken Lacey, who's headed to the Chiefs. Walter Broughton is playing for the injured Anthony Carter, and Derek Holloway, the flyer out of Arkansas. Mike Cobb is the tight end. The offensive line is Tony Osmond, 255. Ray Penny, 256. Radloff is 265. McGriff is 267. And Chris Gottfried is 250. It is second down and 2. Williams again, left side. Good block by Lacey. Out to the 35-yard line, and the Michigan Panthers are on the move. First down, Michigan.
John Corker, who made the key sack, his first sack of the year earlier, he had 28.5 sacks in 1983. He was USFL Defensive Player of the Year. What a player he has been for them. He's out of Oklahoma State, where he played for Jim Stanley.
How do you get the half a sack?
He hit one player so hard that they gave him a sack and a half for it.
I should be your straight man. First and 10, Michigan. Just underway. We've got 11 minutes remaining in the first period. This is the first threat of the ball game by Michigan. Williams. Nothing this time. Good containment on the outside by Birmingham. The Stallions will run to the football. It is an aggressive defense. Mike Perko, Jackie Klein, Joe Cugliari, and Dave Purifoy are your 4 down linemen. They play an unusual defense, 4-2-5. Herb Spencer, Mike Murphy are your linebackers. Then comes Woodbury, Ray, Clanton, Gentry, and Evans. Gentry is starting in the place of Fred Bohannon. So although Anthony Carter is out with a broken arm, and that definitely hurts the Michigan Panthers, the Stallions are hurt somewhat by their strong safety being ill today. They did not know he was not going to play until just prior to kickoff. Second and 11. Williams. Jackie Klein, number 98, along with Mike Murphy, come through cleanly on the blitz, and they send Michigan for a loss. Jackie Klein, an outstanding linebacker, very, very active. He's out of Alabama.
No, he's a left tackle. He's a defensive tackle.
Defensive tackle, I'm sorry, you're right, out of Alabama. Had a sack on Wayne Peace to open the scoring against Tampa Bay. Played with Lenny Patrick at Alabama. He was a top territorial draft with Birmingham. Williams now has 4 straight carries. Derek Holloway in motion. Hebert to throw his first pass of the game on 3rd and 13. It is to Broughton, to the 20, the 10. Touchdown, Derek Holloway. Bobby Hebert to Derek Holloway, and Michigan scores first. It is 6-0 Panthers.
We said at the top of the show that Derek Holloway, number 29, would be the big play man for Michigan with Anthony Carter out. The blitz was on. Herbie Spencer applied the pressure. Hebert got the pass off, and running the underneath route is Derek Holloway, and he sprints across the field to the end zone, and that is a great play for the Panthers.
Novo Bojovic on to attempt the extra point. Good snap, good hold. And the kick is true. So the Michigan Panthers are on the board first. They lead 7-0. Keep in mind, they run a 4-2 defense when they bring the linebackers on a blitz. It is open underneath, and that's where Derek Holloway hit. So Michigan scores first, and Birmingham was a victim to its own defense. They run a 4-2 defense. They brought the linebackers. Herbie Spencer came on the blitz that left everything open underneath, and that's where Derek Holloway found it open and ran it in from there. So the Panthers are on the board first. There's the drive. 5 plays, 50 yards. It only took 3 minutes and 11 seconds.
Holloway ran one of Carter's favorite routes.
Earl Gant will take the kickoff at the goal line. Muffs it, picks it up, and will be tackled at the 14-yard line. Good coverage by number 22, Clarence Chapman, and Bobby Futrell, number 20.
Another look at the previous touchdown. Derek Holloway in motion. He's on the outside, and he's going to come back to the inside. As Tim told you, there's a lot of room underneath because both linebackers were blitzing. And now it's a foot race across the field, and he outruns number 27, Ricky Ray, and number 26, David Evans, who is a burner, to the far corner of the end zone.
On first down, Birmingham puts Jim Smith and Joey Jones to the same side, bottom of your screen. And there's a flag. Looks like Robert Woods may have jumped a little bit too early. Robert Woods out of Tennessee State.
False start. Number 72, offense.
Number 72 is Robert Woods. And Robert Woods got a little bit antsy there and jumped a little bit too quickly. The referee today is Burl Sorgan. The umpire is Tom Myers. The head linesman is Stuart Ross. Steve Morehouse, Bill Richardson, Roger McMinn, Jim Fogeltance, and Bob Rao. Birmingham has had trouble getting its offense going. Jim Smith goes in motion. Down to throw. On 1st and 15, it is incomplete. Intended for Ken Toller. Let's go downstairs now to Herb Wenches, who was with Derek Holloway.
Derek Holloway, I say it was just a great touchdown reception there. Birmingham obviously in the blitzing situation there. You were wide open.
Yes, well, it was a play we worked on all year. I just came across the motion, found an open area. Linebackers to blitz, and Bobby read it and threw it right in there.
Is it difficult going up against a different defense, the 4-2-5?
Yes, it is. They play with 5 defensive backs, so we have to be ready for the nickel man blitzing and a lot of blitzes they run.
Congratulations. Back up to you, Tim.
It's his 2nd and 15. The give to the right side is Cribbs, and Cribbs picks up a couple. You know, we were just talking to Derek Holloway, and it's great to see him off to a quick start with a long touchdown run. I should mention, though, that he dropped the potential winning touchdown pass against Oklahoma with 2 minutes left last week. And it was the first loss of the year for Michigan.
So he gets a chance to redeem himself early in the ballgame.
The point I was going to make is just that. Yep. It is a confidence builder for him.
So I stole your line. Is that what you're saying?
No, you're on the ball. I like it. Ken Toller goes to the top of the screen. Joey Jones to the bottom. It is 3rd and 12. The Stallions flex their tight end 4 yards off the line. And Stout to throw. Pops across the middle to Toller. Toller is going to be short of the first down by about a yard before Ron Osborne comes up and makes the first down saving tackle. John Corker was coming quickly.
Look at John Corker. Look at the blitz here, and look how quick Cliff Stout unloads to Ken Toller, number 85, on a deep slant in route. Ron Osborne, number 23, is the man who applies the hit in the secondary. It brings up a punting situation now for the Stallions, and it should set up good field position for the Panthers.
That's Bobby Parsons, who had a 35-yard punt the first time, and it was returned, and Michigan got good field position. This time he gets a high spiraling punt that will take Bobby Futrell inside the 30. This time Birmingham has outstanding coverage, and he gets back to the 35. So that's where the Panthers will have it when they come back. Their second possession, 1st and 10. There's your score. You know, we talked about the absence of Anthony Carter in this ball game. He's out possibly 6 weeks with a broken arm. But in the first series, they went with the run to John Williams and then had the big pass to Derek Holloway. And AC has not been missed yet. This is Ken Lacey. His first carry of the afternoon. Bangs left side, and the Boo Birds come out. He has signed with the Kansas City Chiefs, and the fans here in Detroit don't like that. This program is being brought to you as an exclusive presentation of ABC Sports. Now let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves.
You're watching WTAE-TV, Channel 4 in Pittsburgh.
It'll be 2nd and 6 for the Michigan Panthers, and Lee Grosskopf and I were talking to the coaches just prior to the game, and I think the consensus among the Michigan coaches is more power to Ken Lacey. He served his time well here, and he deserves a break. And they think anybody who can get over to the National Football League with the pension plan that they have, more power to him. This is Ken Lacey. Not much there. He gets pulled down, and again they boo. The tackle was made by Robert Gentry, number 34.
Ken Lacey was booed when he was introduced. He has been booed the 2 times he has carried the football. I think he could probably change those boos to cheers, however, if he broke off a long run.
Ken Lacey is a very talented athlete. Those are the numbers he had last week, but he was coming off an injury and hadn't played 3 prior weeks.
Had a shoulder injury.
6'1", 220 pounds, an outstanding blocker, a fine runner. It is 3rd and 8 for Bobby Hebert. Holloway in motion. With time, throws deep. It's intended for Broughton. Broughton has the ball, and he runs out of bounds on the 26-yard line. Walter Broughton, complete from Bobby Hebert. Broughton is out of Jacksonville State.
Number 24, Walter Broughton, who was a running back during his college days at Jacksonville State, running a corner pattern. He's beating Ricky Ray, number 27, to the outside, makes the over-the-shoulder catch. That ball was perfectly thrown by Bobby Hebert. Now, in his college days, he caught a lot of passes from a quarterback by the name of Ed Lett, who was a good one.
Broughton has 5 receptions since replacing Anthony Carter. That one for 37 yards and a first down for the Panthers. Ken Lacey runs into a whole lot of trouble on the right side. At number 55 is Herbie Spencer. Mike Murphy is there as well. Raleigh Dotch, the head coach to the Birmingham Stallions.
Best remembered as the offensive line coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He played his college football for Duffy Doherty at Michigan State back in the early 50s and played on a national championship team in 1952.
He looks very concerned right now as he looks at the offensive line of the Michigan Panthers, and there are a couple of his old players there. Tyrone McGriff, Ray Penny. Right now they're faced with 2nd and 7 on the 24. The give is to Williams, who cuts back against the grain but runs over his own man and picks up 1, and that'll be it. Jim Stanley, what a job he's done here with the Panthers. Last year they were 1 and 4. He turned things around, got some outstanding talent in the players that I just mentioned. Tyrone McGriff, Ray Penny, Tom Dornbrook, brought in Cleo Miller from the Cleveland Browns. He acted like a player coach, ran well, helped the younger players develop. Bobby Hebert came of age, and Jim Stanley had himself a ball club. They became the USFL's first ever champions. Well, on 3rd and 6, Bobby Hebert did not like what he saw. The 30-second clock had gone down, and the defense was mixing up a little bit and doing some things that he wasn't quite sure of. So he called timeout. He wants to talk to the head coach that we just talked about, Jim Stanley. So, with 4 minutes and 16 seconds remaining in the first quarter from the Silverdome. Our score, Michigan 7, Birmingham nothing. We are at the Silverdome. You see the third down marker. It is 3rd and 6, the ball on the 22 for Michigan. They have already scored once. This is their second possession, and they're driving again. Derek Holloway in motion. Williams, he's coming around the left side, has the first down and then some. Tyrone McGriff made an outstanding block. He pulled and got out in front of Williams. Let's go downstairs now. Here's Herb Winches.
Anthony Carter sidelined for 6 weeks with a broken left arm. Anthony, how's the injury?
Well, the injury's coming along real well, and I really haven't got to worry when the doctor, when will I be back?
What about your substitute, Walter Broughton, just had a big catch?
Well, I think Walter's filling in my spot tremendously. He's a great receiver. He's a rookie, but he got a lot to learn. But, Walt, he's going to do the job real well.
Thank you, AC. Back up to you, Tim.
AC, very confident, extremely talented. Saying the rookie has a lot to learn. That from a second-year player. Broughton has 4.5 speed, not quite what Anthony Carter has, a little bit quicker. That time Williams jumped and flags fly, the ball's loose, and Birmingham gets it back. Mike Murphy makes the recovery. Herbie Spencer, the linebacker, 55, says, we decline any penalty. We want the football.
Number 40 offense, refused. First down.
John Williams, number 40, Ken Lacey, both moved a little bit. The penalty he called on number 40, John Williams.
Birmingham in the giveaway takeaway department was +8 coming into this game. That made them second in the league. And that, according to some coaches, is the most important statistic in all of football. Michigan was exactly at 0 coming into today's game.
This is Joe Cribbs, looks for a hole, spinning, turning, drives, and bounces out, close to a first down for the Stallions. He'll be about a yard shy before Kyle Borland and John Ardnott bring him down. Joe Cribbs, he's carried the ball for 151 yards, or 151 times already this year, and he's been extremely productive. 135 yards a week ago.
He is the league's leading rusher, and as I said at the top of the show, he has been everything they expected him to be and more. Perhaps the best all-purpose player in the United States Football League.
One of the most electrifying all-purpose backs in the USFL, you're right.
And it's about that far from being a first down.
Joe Cribbs spent 4 years in the NFL. He was the Rookie of the Year in 1980. He was All-Pro 3 times. He rushed for more than 1,000 yards 3 seasons.
At Auburn, he played in the same backfield with 2 other great ones. Let's see how your memory is.
Auburn, he played with, who is it?
Andrews and Brooks.
Oh, yeah.
Can you believe they have those guys in a wishbone backfield? Nice assignment for the quarterback. Who do you give the ball to?
This is 2nd and 1 here, even less than 1. You saw the mark. The ball on the 19. Leon Perry breaks out, has a hole across the 30 to the 35-yard line. Rambles Leon Perry. Right now, let's go back to New York. Jim Lampley with his USFL report.
A loss by the Wranglers might mean their season is virtually over, Tim Brandt, so they've come roaring out of the chute against New Jersey today. Greg Landry hot in the first period. This touchdown pass to Larry Douglas has given the Wranglers a 6-0 lead. They missed the extra point over New Jersey. Back to Tim Brandt.
You're right, they need it badly, and you know George Allen's chomping at the bit to get that one. Here in the Silverdome, it's 1st and 10 from the 38. Stout to throw, has a man, it's Cribbs, right side. Cribbs up close to a first down, being short by about 2 yards. Clarence Chapman rides him out of bounds.
We were talking about Joe Cribbs a moment ago. I said at the top of the show he has given them something they lacked in 1983, game-breaking capabilities and an all-purpose back. He is equally effective catching the ball, as you see there on his flat pattern along the sideline. The man coming up on the coverage is number 22, Clarence Chapman, the cornerback. But Cribbs can do it all. Inside, outside runner, catch the ball short, catch the ball deep.
He can take what looks to be a 2 or 3 yard gain into a 30 or 40 yarder quickly. Leon Perry, right side, first down, Birmingham.
The Stallions are a right-handed team, and not surprisingly, on the right side they have Pat Saindon, number 74, and Pat Phoenix, number 71. Saindon, the strongest man on the team, but Buddy Idolette, number 78, the left guard, pulls on those long trap plays, and they like to go that way.
You mentioned Saindon out of Vanderbilt, one of the strongest men on the team. He bench presses 437 pounds. He handled 600 pounds in the squat, and he can run. They pull him a lot. First and 10 on the 49. The fake to Perry. Stout with time to Cribbs. Cribbs inside the 45-yard line.
This is evolving right now as a vintage Birmingham drive. They're running the inside trap plays, the long trap plays, and then coming with the play-action passes. That man right there, Raleigh Dodge, is a true fundamentalist. You know, they have bandit ball in the league. At Birmingham, they call it Raleigh ball. Now tell me, Tim Brandt, what is Raleigh ball?
Raleigh ball is ball control. They have the best marks in the league at that. They average 34 minutes a game holding the football. And when you have the football, it's tough for the other team to score. Leon Perry runs into a wall. The wall is John Banaszak.
John Banaszak, what a story he has been. 2 different leagues, and he has done it all. How many Super Bowl rings does he have?
He's got a few. He was the defensive most valuable player in Super Bowl 13. That was Pittsburgh against Dallas. Lynn Swan, our colleague at ABC, was the offensive MVP of that game.
He's out of the MAC conference, and they play tough football in the MAC. That, of course, is an acronym for Mid-America Conference.
Well, you see the clock tick down the final seconds of the first quarter. The Michigan Panthers have scored once. They've threatened twice, but here come the Birmingham Stallions. There's your score, 7-0 Panthers. Tim Brandt, Lee Grosscup, and Herb Winches from the Silver Dome in Pontiac, Michigan, where the Birmingham Stallions have gone into Panther territory for the first time this afternoon. This play is 3rd and 6. Joey Jones, number 4, goes in motion. Cliff Stout rolls right, cuts back against the grain, and will come up way shy of a first down. John Banaszak, Kyle Borland come up and make the tackle on Cliff Stout.
Looking at the numbers for the first quarter, Tim, we see in the battle of possession football, the bottom line, we expected this to be a close game. Look at that. However, in total yards, Michigan dominating 105-60, mostly as a result of their big play passing attack. Bobby Hebert going to his wide receivers.
Bobby Parsons, 3rd punt of the day, is fielded at the 11 by Walter Broughton. Go back to that last play carried by Cliff Stout, and there's no question about the fact he is a great running quarterback. Led the National Football League quarterbacks last year, but on 3rd down and 6, it's a questionable call.
Absolutely. I didn't think he would run it. I thought he would roll out and then throw.
1st and 10 at the 12 for Bobby Hebert and his Panthers. This is Lacey. Good fill on the left side by Chuck Clanton, the strong safety. He came up, made the tackle. And that's the key on a play like that. String it out and wait for pursuit.
Going back to the only scoring play of the first quarter, watch the pressure applied by Herbie Spencer, number 55, as he blitzes and really gives a lick to quarterback Bobby Hebert right there. But Hebert, who we've talked about, his poise, his strength, his ability to stay cool while under pressure, he stands right in there and finishes and throws the touchdown pass to Derek Holloway.
That's good old-fashioned football. Put in all the sophisticated offenses and defenses you want. It still comes down to blocking and tackling. 2nd and 7. This is John Williams, left side, and again, there's outstanding containment by the Birmingham defense. Cliff Stout now standing by with Herb Winches.
With quarterback Cliff Stout of the Birmingham Stallions. Cliff, your offense is having some problems getting on track. What's the problem?
Well, we just had a couple breakdowns, Herb. Second time there, we got the ball moving, and they've been blitzing, playing man coverage on all the 3rd down situations, so we tried a little quarterback bootleg there, and they were in the zone. They outguessed us on that one. But the last series, we mixed up the play action, and the run started coming off the ball. I think we'll get things going now.
Thank you, Cliff. Back up to you, Tim.
This is 3rd and 5. Derek Holloway goes in motion. Hebert with time. Now in a little bit of trouble. Throws across the middle, and it's incomplete. It was intended for Derek Holloway.
Ricky Ray, number 27, on the coverage. This is the identical play they scored on in the first quarter. Holloway in motion to the right, comes back underneath. Now watch Ricky Ray, number 27, on the coverage. Actually, he had a step on him. The ball was thrown well enough. The ball was catchable. So Derek Holloway, who dropped one last week that was very important, possible winning touchdown, came back, caught one, now drops again.
David Greenwood out of Wisconsin, number 31, will punt the ball. Ron Frederick for Birmingham is the only setback. The ball goes out of bounds upfield. It is not a particularly long kick, but there is a flag on the play. Well, they'll mark the ball on the Birmingham 48. As I mentioned, there is a flag on the play, so the officials will talk that over, and the players stand around waiting to see if they'll have to punt it again. If they don't, though, Lee Grosscup, it's good field position for the Stallions.
Ineligible receiver downfield on the kicking team, number 22, decline. First down.
Birmingham will have it. First down on the 48-yard line. Again, Cliff Stout has excellent field position to work. There's your score, 7-0 Panthers. Michigan head coach Jim Stanley said, this kind of game with these two talented ball clubs, the rules are very simple. It's straight ahead, no fair dodging. And so far, that's what we had. One touchdown scored. Stout, play action, fakes to Cribbs, now goes to Joey Jones, who makes the catch, but he's out of bounds.
Cliff Stout, play action fake, sets up at about 6 yards, throwing to the sideline. Joey Jones, number 4. And this is a 2-foot league. He doesn't even have one in. There's actually no doubt about that. Clarence Chapman, number 22, the cornerback, on the coverage.
It was a good call. It was just a poor throw. They caught Michigan in the zone. They tried to go to the right side in the flat. And Cliff Stout just threw out of bounds. So it's 2nd and 10, and Stout wants to throw again. Deep drop, look for the screen. There is a screen. It is to Darrell Mason. Over the middle, and he gets up to midfield. John Corker makes the tackle there, but he'll be way short of the first down. About 9 yards shy, to be exact, as you look at David Greenwood. Nickel defense comes in. Sam Mills is having a big day at linebacker for Philadelphia. And look at the Stars now blitzing Chicago 31-0. 2 interceptions, 1 fumble recovery for Sam Mills.
Is that the punt of the week?
Oh, Lee Grosscup. 3rd and 8 for Cliff Stout. Drops with time. Across the middle to his tight end, Ken Toller. And Ken Toller has the first down deep inside the 40 to the 37-yard line.
Ken Toller, one of the wide receivers, along with Joey Jones, who brings in the plays, is running a middle pattern here. Cliff Stout waits. He comes underneath. He looks for him, and he catches the ball in front of number 23, Ron Osborne, and number 31, David Greenwood. And this is the kind of routes, these are the routes I think Birmingham executes best.
If you looked at that offense, though, they had Jim Smith, Joey Jones. They brought in Toller and just flexed him off that tight end position. Forgot the tight end. They had 3 wide receivers.
3 wideouts in the game.
They've done that several times. It is 1st and 10 from the 38. Stout to throw again. Has a man, but it's overthrown. Well, it looked like Jim Smith had a step on Oliver Davis. But again, the ball was overthrown. John Ardnob was playing free safety, and he came over to help out.
Probably just as well that it was overthrown, because the coverage that time was excellent for Michigan. That's one of the routes we saw Stout run earlier this year against the LA Express. It was a big play, in fact, in the 3rd quarter, if you remember. He found Smith along the left sideline in the deep outside seam of the zone coverage.
Jim Smith played here at the University of Michigan for Bo Schembechler, regarded as one of pro football's most spectacular receivers. On 2nd and 10, the draw. This is Cribbs. Spins at the 25, down to the 21. Joe Cribbs. What a story he is. Joe Cribbs grew up in this small backwoods town in Alabama. The young boy used to hitchhike down Route 78 to go to Legion Field to watch the SEC play. Of all the games he saw it, that Alabama, Auburn were the best. He decided to go to Auburn, became an All-American, and now is building a home just 10 miles from Legion Field where he plays all of his home games. First and 10 from the 21. Birmingham now threatening. This is Joey Jones in motion. Leon Perry, left side. Quick trap opener. Down to the 15.
Leon Perry really emerged as a star and as a starter in the second game of the year, the game that you and I covered earlier against the Los Angeles Express, and he has been getting better week by week. He's one of the hardest running fullbacks in all of football. Of course, he had some time with the New York Giants. Matt Millen was quoted earlier this week as saying that Perry runs as hard as any fullback he's ever tackled.
He's a hard blocker, too. The coaches graded him out almost perfect last week against Jacksonville. This is Cribbs now on the left side. Gets a good block. He's down close to another first down. Robert Pennywill, the linebacker, comes up and makes the tackle there.
This is Raleigh ball. We talked about Raleigh ball being synonymous with possession football. You see the plays being sent in there by Raleigh Dodge. Joey Jones and Ken Toller, number 85 and number 4, are the wide receivers who alternate bringing in the plays from the sideline from Coach Raleigh Dodge.
And when you have a running back like Joe Cribbs, it's easy to control your football. An article in today's paper was titled, "Freedom for the Stallions." And I guess that's right. Leon Perry going after the first down. I don't think he got it. We'll have to see where they mark it. I don't know if you saw that article today on Cribbs, but I guess there is freedom for the Stallion. He's got a clear mind now after the court battle. His legs are healthy, and his heart is happy, I guess, being home back in Alabama.
It was a good story. I did see it.
Leon Perry carried it down that far. Here are the chains.
Yes.
First down, that close. Birmingham. 8 minutes, 24 seconds remaining in the first half.
Doing what they do best. Possession football.
Panthers lead at 7-0, but the Stallions are driving.
Remember last year against New Jersey, they kept the ball 43 minutes, 28 seconds. Herschel Walker got only 27 yards. Instead of letting the big dog eat, they made the big dog starve.
Birmingham does that. It has its biggest days against the best running backs. Herschel had 48. Dupree only 28. Rozier 30 yards. What will Lacey get today? This is first and 10. This is Cribbs. Left side. Spins to the 6.
As we watch this play develop, Tim, you get a sense of what Birmingham does so well. Buddy Idolette, number 78, kicking out. Joe Cribbs on the long trap play, cutting back, coming underneath. They run that so effectively to both sides. John Arnaud, the safety man, number 25, having to come up from the secondary to make the tackle.
Cribbs now has 40 yards and 6 carries. They don't throw very much inside the 10. They use 2 tight ends. This is his big running back, Leon Perry. Down to the 5. Robin Earl was the man you saw in motion, and I was about to tell you that inside the 10, what they do is bring in the extra tight end. They'll use them in motion and try to cut him inside the tackle, right in front of the ball carrier as a lead blocker.
We'll be on 3, Coach. We've got to go to the 1.
Waiting to see what the flag is. At the right hand of your screen, you can't see it there, but the officials do have a flag down, and it's going to be against Michigan. It'll take it down to the 3.
Offside. Defense. Still second down.
The Stallions, Tim, have already used up more than 5 minutes on this drive, and you remember it started just outside the 50-yard line. This is something they do very effectively.
Jim Smith still out of the ball game. Robin Earl comes in. 3 tight ends, 1 on the wing, 2 running backs. The give on the left side is Cribbs. Touchdown, Birmingham. Joe Cribbs.
is touchdown number 6 on the year for Joe Cribbs, the All-American out of the University of Auburn. Watch the work of the offensive line here. The right guard is coming across, closing down. Cribbs slices through a hole right over the center. The man in the middle, of course, is big Tom Banks.
Cribbs got through a hole that wasn't there.
Well, he created a hole for himself by sliding slightly to the outside and then hurling himself into the end zone and flying right by linebacker Ray Bentley, number 50.
Danny Miller's kick is up and it's good, and we've got a tie ball game. So Joe Cribbs, 4 years in the NFL, Rookie of the Year, 3 times All-Pro, has tied this score at 7. At the 10, finds a hole, right side, across the 30. This is Danny Miller, tries to make the tackle and can't. Broughton calls back across midfield to the 49-yard line. Walter Broughton with an outstanding return of the kickoff by Danny Miller. David Evans came up to make the tackle, but Walter Broughton has brought Michigan right back.
Walter Broughton, a talented rookie out of Jacksonville State. Now watch him as he finds the seam on the right side. Remember that kickoff returns are planned plays. And Danny Miller, number 1, finally takes a shot at him right there. Ultimately, he's brought down by number 26, David Evans.
A 51-yard return by Walter Broughton. We've got a tie ball game. Birmingham quarterback Cliff Stout is thinking what he has to do his next offensive series. But right now, the onus is on the Birmingham defense because Walter Broughton has just had the longest return of the year for Michigan. John Williams had the previous longest at 43 yards, but Broughton has just returned at 51, and Michigan has the ball now in Birmingham territory. John Williams, not much there. Let's go down to Herb Winches right now with Walter Broughton.
Joe Cribbs, 3-yard touchdown run. Joe, describe the play.
Well, it was a base goal line dive play. We have the center and the guard double teaming their defensive tackle, and I'm just cutting in behind the nose, and we got a good block, and I just squirted in there.
It was a typical offensive drive for the Stallions, consuming more than 5 minutes off the clock.
Well, I think offensively, I think we can do some things against them and have some success. Right now, the defense has got to suck it up and play a little bit better defense right now.
Congratulations on your touchdown run.
Thanks, Herb.
Tim?
Herb's getting quick in his old age. Ran across to the other side after talking to Broughton and got Joe Cribbs. 2nd and 11 now for Michigan. This is Lacey, still not much there. Jackie Klein makes the tackle, and every time that Lacey carries the football, the fans at the Silverdome boo him.
You know, this is an interesting reversal. Now, for the Detroit Lions, you remember that when Billy Sims signed a USFL contract with the Houston Gamblers, he was booed unmercifully here. Now we have Ken Lacey signing a contract with an NFL team. He is being booed unmercifully by USFL fans. However, they will change very quickly.
There were some interesting articles in the paper this past week talking about what would happen if the Panthers played the Lions. And quite a few of the fans really believe that the Panthers right now could beat the Detroit Lions. 3rd and 11. Hebert going long. Overthrows his intended receiver, Frankie McLean. Bobby Hebert. You look at that statistic, which is impressive.
I think Bobby Hebert is going to be mad at himself when he looks at the film, Tim, because Frank McLean out of North Texas State was running a fly pattern along the right sideline, and you know what? He had a step on the defender there. Had Hebert thrown that ball with more of a high, soft, looping trajectory over the outside shoulder, there was a possible touchdown there.
David Greenwood on to punt it away. This is number 31. Ron Frederick is the lone return man, and again, it goes out of bounds, and David Greenwood's not happy. That's twice the ball's gone off the side of his foot.
David Greenwood, despite 2 bad kicks today, is perhaps the finest athlete on the Michigan team. You look at his all-purpose numbers. He has 27 tackles, and safety blitzes. He has sacked the quarterback twice, 11 assists, 3 interceptions. He has blocked a kick, and, of course, he has been the punter. Today, he has not been sharp as a punter, but we talked to George Dixon before the game today, and George told us that if he had to start with any one athlete off of the Michigan team, he would take David Greenwood.
He's a tough, hard-nosed player. We saw him against Arizona make the game-saving play, knocking the pass away in the end zone at the end of that game. This is Cribbs, left side, cuts back inside the linebackers to the secondary to the 32-yard line, and that's where Kyle Borland catches up with him. Coming up next Sunday, as the exciting USFL action continues, we have two fine games for you. New Jersey against Pittsburgh and Denver against New Orleans. Now, we saw Pittsburgh and New Orleans last week, did Lee Grosscup and myself. Two outstanding football teams. New Orleans, 6-1. Pittsburgh, an expansion team that did not exist last year at this time, is playing very, very well. 2nd and 2. Leon Perry. Here he comes around the right side for the first down. And he punishes number 22, Clarence Chapman.
Leon Perry, the big guy out of Mississippi, is a fullback that I'm starting to like more and more, Tim. He has the size you like. He's a great lead blocker. Now watch this. He shows a new dimension here. He shows you that he can also break it to the outside. And he's going to go one-on-one with Clarence Chapman, the cornerback, who has to come up. That is not an enviable assignment when you're a cornerback the size of Clarence Chapman.
Chapman is 180 pounds, and Leon Perry is 248 pounds. And Perry also in high school was the Mississippi State 100-yard dash champion. But this is Joe Cribbs, another sprinter, and he's got another first down for Birmingham.
He's brought down by Ray Bentley, the leading tackler on the Michigan team. He's another great MAC conference player. In fact, he was MAC Defensive Player of the Year out of Central Michigan. But this is vintage Raleigh ball right now. They're doing all of the things they like to do with their possession running game.
Joe Cribbs sat out most of the preseason, all the contact work, while he battled the NFL in the courts, fighting for the right to play in this league. He's now nearing 800 yards in just 8 games. Stout. This is Darrell Mason into Michigan territory, down to the 42-yard line.
Cliff Stout read the safety blitz. David Greenwood was coming on the safety blitz, and he dumped the ball off in a hurry to Darrell Mason. Watch number 31 coming in here. You can't see it now. Here comes Greenwood, and he reads the blitz. Darrell Mason, number 81 out of Arkansas, catches the ball along the sidelines. John Arnaud has to come over to make the tackle along with Clarence Chapman.
Again, Clarence Chapman took a pretty good lick, and he's a little bit injured, shaken up, had his bell rung. Darrell Mason's not small. He's 6'1", 221 pounds. Raleigh Dodge calls him the most underrated tight end in the United States Football League.
I think that's an accurate assessment because he was very outstanding last year, particularly on crossing routes.
He was the second leading receiver for this club last year with 41 catches. This is first down at the 36. Perry gets a good block, cuts back against the grain. First down, Birmingham. Leon Perry.
We're getting a slot with a 35 onside, and I would think that's another fullback play, or no, it's a Joe Cribbs play, I believe. But they are really alternating now between Perry and Cribbs. And this, again, is the classic type Raleigh ball, classic possession football.
Leon Perry now has 50 yards in 8 carries. The last carry for 11 yards. Birmingham 7, Michigan 7. One of the keys thus far has been the Stallions' composure. Michigan came right out, scored the first time it had the football, and went all the way down to the 20 the second time it had the football. But Birmingham stuck with its game plan, and now it's paying off.
Part of that game plan was to run right at John Corker. We will illustrate that for you shortly.
Kohler goes to the top of the screen. Jim Smith to the bottom. Man defense by Michigan. They show blitz, and they bring the linebacker to the backside. Joe Cribbs really nailed at the 24-yard line by Ray Bentley, number 50. What do you mean running right at Corker? Is that their game plan?
Going right at John Corker because they feel that he is better in pursuit than when you attack him like this. Mark Battaglia, the pulling guard, number 59, going right at Corker. You see Leon Perry, number 30, cutting inside that block. And that's the way to neutralize a great player like John Corker. Go right at him.
Good strategy because Corker is one of the best at tracking you down from behind. On 2nd and 9, Stout throwing to Joey Jones. Both feet in. Yes, reception. The crowd doesn't like it, but it's a good call.
Joey Jones, who had a great career at Alabama running the classic sideline route. He's down about 11 yards, squares it out. Now watch. Remember, this is a 2-foot league.
Timeout.
Very clearly, he had
Birmingham.
4 feet inbound.
Number 1.
Good call by the official that time. He was not swayed by the crowd, and Birmingham continues to sustain the drive. They move down inside the 20 to the 18, and that's where they'll have the ball when we come back. 1 minute, 19 seconds remaining in the first half. That's the quarterback, Cliff Stout. 3rd and 3 is the situation. This is Joe Cribb, left side, first down, Moore, cuts inside Greenwood to the 4-yard line. Goes big Joe Cribb.
Excellent call in that short yardage situation right there.
Hold
The
on,
fake
people.
inside.
Here's what I want. 4 tight
Listen.
full toss 18.
Yeah, hurry up.
Did you get it? Going to the short side here. Look, the lead block there by Leon Perry, number 30. Buddy Idlett, number 78, pulling. It propels Cribbs to the outside. Now he cuts back, and he gets the valuable yardage before being 2-timed in the secondary.
A 13-yard gain. Cribbs nearing 800 yards, but he won't get any more on that play. As a matter of fact, he'll lose some yardage.
John Arnaud, number 25, a 7-foot, 2.5-inch high jumper out of Iowa State. And Tim, we've talked about this before when we've covered Michigan, but for the first time in professional history, in David Greenwood and John Arnaud, you have safeties side by side who both high jump better than 7 feet 2 inches.
I had mentioned that Joe Cribbs was going after the 800-yard mark. He had 801 yards for the year in 8 games prior to that carry, but he lost some. There's your time. It's a tie score, but Birmingham has a marvelous drive going here against a very active, aggressive Panther defense. We said that Birmingham likes to run inside the 10, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a pass, and here it comes. Looking for Jim Smith, can't find him. Goes across the middle, touchdown. Goes Joe Cribbs, number 20. Well, he looked to the left side, looking for Jim Smith. Smith was covered. He went across on the quick slant into his back. Joe Cribbs, touchdown, Birmingham.
Touchdown number 2 on the day for Joe Cribbs. Watch him coming out of the backfield on the left side. Stout looks around. Cribbs circles inside. Coverage right there on the goal line. And Cribbs steps right in front of the linebacker, it appears. I would say it's Ray Bentley, unofficially number 50, for the second touchdown of the day.
Good read by Cliff Stout. Good kick by Danny Miller. The extra point is good. And Birmingham now has a 14-7 lead, thanks to that man, Joe Cribbs.
A different look at the last touchdown. Joe Cribbs on the right side of your screen, circling out of the backfield. He's going to be coming underneath the coverage. Stout takes his time. This is the secondary target. It is Bentley, number 50, and 25, John Arnaud, on the coverage. But Cribbs circles right underneath both of them, and Stout hits him right on the numbers. It's a perfect pass for the touchdown. That's touchdown number 2 on the day for Cribbs. Unofficially now, Tim, Birmingham has kept the ball better than 10 minutes here in the second quarter. Michigan has 0 first downs in the second quarter.
And, of course,
Amazing.
Michigan worked extremely well in the first quarter, so you make a tremendous point. Now let me ask you this. As you look at Danny Miller ready to kick off, what do you do if you're Danny Miller and Raleigh Dodge and Birmingham? Do you kick it away again and look for another big return, or do you try to squib kick it and try to get it down where you can cover it with an up back?
I would squib it, but every time I say that, they always kick it away.
Well, there it is again. Danny Miller, long kick. Takes Bobby Futrell 5 yards deep in the end zone. And right now, Herb Wenches is with Tommy Banks.
Offensive center Tommy Banks for the Stallions. Tommy, you guys up front, you are starting to take control of the offensive line, winning at the point of attack.
Well, we're coming off the ball good, Herb. It's the best thing you can do in a physical kind of game like this. Both teams play a lot of the same kind of football, and this is what we love to play. Just get down there and get with it in the trenches.
Your running backs are doing a great job.
Yeah, Joe and Leon both are bringing it, and they're following our blocks, and heck, that makes everybody's job better.
All right, Tom, thank you very much.
Sure, glad to be here.
Tim?
Tom Banks, an inspirational, tireless player who, after 11 brilliant seasons with the St. Louis Cardinals, became the first ever player to sign a contract with the Birmingham Stallions. What can this man, number 11, Bobby Hebert, do now? With 39 seconds remaining in the half. His first pass is complete. Walter Broughton, first down Michigan. That'll stop the clock while they move the chains.
Restating what I just said, look at the numbers on the last Birmingham
Timeout.
drive. 10 plays.
Michigan.
424.
Raleigh ball. Ball control. Well, I tell you, that's the best defense is a good offense. Hold the football. Don't let the opponent have it.
Michigan right now is probably going to do what they just did. They're going to work the sidelines with their two wide receivers and try to move the ball into field goal position because they know that they have a long-range kicker in Novo Bojovic. In fact, in the initial contest last season against these Birmingham Stallions, you'll remember that he had two 49-yard field goals.
3 field goals for the game, and they won it 9-7. His career longest is the 49-yarder. There's your time remaining in the first half. Birmingham leads it 14-7. Michigan with the football. Broughton and Derek Holloway are the wide receivers. Lacey and Williams are the setbacks. Not much pressure this time on Hebert. He throws it again. It's complete to Walter Broughton. He'll be short of the first down, but it does stop the clock at 26 seconds as he gets out of bounds. Bobby Hebert is shaken up. That would be a devastating blow to the Panthers. Let's hope he's not seriously hurt.
He appears to be holding his left knee.
Bobby Hebert, the most valuable player in the championship game against Philadelphia and Denver last year.
He is 4 of 6 in the passing department right now for 95 yards. Was the USFL's MVP in 1983.
He is one of the premier USFL developed stars. Now he wants more. You know, he's out of Northwestern Louisiana State, where he played for A.L. Williams. A.L. Williams also coached Terry Bradshaw and Joe Ferguson. He was voted USFL Player of the Year by Sporting News as you look at Whit Taylor come into the ballgame. Bobby Hebert in college played with Victor Otis, who went on to play with the Colts, Mark Duper, who went on to play with the Dolphins, and the late Joe Delaney, who played for the Chiefs before his tragic death. Ironically, Bobby Hebert didn't become a quarterback until his senior year in high school. He's up and put some pressure on the leg now. Took a pretty good shot. We hope he's all right. He is putting pressure on the leg. He is a tough athlete, and he's good size. 6'4", 220 pounds. Whit Taylor comes into the ball game now. Whit is out of Vanderbilt.
I like Whit Taylor. I saw him in a reserve role at times last year, and we saw him come into the ball game earlier this year in a game against Denver. You remember that when Bobby Hebert was shaken up in that game? And he shows a lot of poise. He kind of rewrote the press guide when he was at Vanderbilt.
You remember Bobby Hebert was a holdout in preseason, so Whit Taylor got a lot of playing time. He is 2 for 4, 21 yards thus far this year, has not played that much in the regular season. This is Kenny Lacey. Across the 45, battles his way out to the 47-yard line.
Ken Lacey was not booed that time. The boos were noticeably absent.
No, but he did get up holding his left arm, his left shoulder, and that is, I believe, the shoulder that kept him out a couple of games earlier in the year.
This Michigan team has been playing hurt all season long. Tyrone McGriff missed some ball games earlier in the year. Lacey has missed some action.
He is a tough, hard-nosed football player, though, with a lot of intensity. And even if he is hurt, especially at this point in time where he signed the contract with the National Football League, and he has the fans here booing him a little bit today, you better believe he's going to tough it out and gut it out and not come out of the ball game. He'll stay in. 18 yards has Lacey on 7 carries here today.
He will stay in, but to amplify on that injury situation, Tom Dornbrook is out for the season. And who else? Now, of course, now Bobby Hebert is going to be missing some action here. We hope it is not serious. But, well, I'll tell you something else, that Bethea and Corker missed the last game we covered here because of a suspension. Do you remember that?
I do remember that. As you look at Whit Taylor, Walter brought... Ken Lacey is still holding that arm limp like it is injured. He said he doesn't care whether he's playing in the National Football League or the United States Football League. He's not a lame duck. He'll give well over 100% effort every time because he's Ken Lacey. I like that. 19 seconds remain. First and 10. The ball on the 47 for Michigan. Whit Taylor to throw his first pass, drills it, and it's complete to Derek Holloway. That was a shot.
That's exactly what I was just talking about. This is a guy who is a real excellent medium-range passer. Whit Taylor out of Vanderbilt really throws a cannon right here. Hook route, and that ball was right on the money with perfect timing.
14 seconds to work. Goes to Holloway on the quick out. Ball goes out of bounds. That'll stop the clock at 9. They're talking to Novo Bijovic down on the sidelines. Let's go down quickly to Herb Winches.
Thank you, Timmy. Quarterback Bobby Hebert has gone to the locker room. He has strained his left knee. The doctors tell us they'll have to take a closer look at halftime, and it's not known if he'll return in the third quarter. Tim?
Well, with Anthony Carter out, and now Bobby Hebert, that severely hurts the power of the Michigan offense. But here with 9 seconds left, Whit Taylor's trying to get another play to get Novo Bijovic a little bit closer to the field goal. This is second and 10. Taylor throws, has Holloway, and he can't hold it. The ball was there. Holloway was open, but he dropped the football. That is Novo Bijovic from Titograd, Yugoslavia. Played at Central Michigan. Was a high school soccer player. He was 11 of 13 last year.
His longest is 49 yards.
This will be a 56-yarder. It's a prayer. But he has the distance. It's good! Novo Bijovic from 56 yards, and now Tempers Flair on the field.
That's exactly right. Ricky Ray and Novo had an altercation there. It nearly caused a major fight.
8 consecutive field goals. That one was shot from a cannon. And the Panthers draw just that much closer. So, we'll be back with today's halftime activities after this message and a word from our local station, Birmingham 14, Michigan 10.
Jim Lampley again in New York. We welcome those of you who are at halftime of the battle between Birmingham and Michigan. Here in the East, the New Jersey Generals trail Arizona at halftime 6-3. In that ball game, Arizona got on the scoreboard early in the first quarter on this touchdown pass from Greg Landry to Larry Douglas. A 14-play, 74-yard drive produced this touchdown from 19 yards out. It was 6-0 Arizona after the extra point kick was blocked. At the end of the second period, the Generals picked up a 31-yard field goal by Roger Ruzak. Arizona has had the ball most of the first half, but has only a 6-3 lead to show for it. Down in Philadelphia, the Stars will apparently have an easy day, and Chicago has made it so for them. Early in the first quarter, after a fumble recovery by Sam Mills, Philadelphia got on the scoreboard on this touchdown pass from Chuck Fusina to Willie Collier. 19 yards out, it was 7-0 favor of the Stars. Then a reverse punt return picked up 33 yards and set up this 25-yard touchdown pass from Fusina to Steve Folson. It was 14-0 Philadelphia, with those fans who attended the game barely in their seats. 7:55 still left in the first quarter, when on this play, Jim Stone took a pass for Chicago, fumbled it into the hands of Scott Werner. Official statisticians are calling it a 25-yard fumble return. You can see that it was from 35 yards out, and it made it 21-0 Philadelphia. Then Sam Mills picked off a pass, one of 2 interceptions he had to go with his fumble recovery in the period. All of them led to points. There were 6.5 minutes left when Philadelphia capitalized on that Mills turnover by David Riley running it in from 1 yard out. That made it 28-0 Philadelphia. Later, there have been 2 Trout field goals for the Stars, and at halftime it is Philadelphia 34, the Chicago Blitz nothing. Yesterday, very quickly, Denver fell down 21-0 to Pittsburgh, came back to win it 31-21. Rozier got 137 yards for Pittsburgh, but Denver lost starting quarterback Craig Penrose with strained knee ligaments, and he will be replaced by Bob Galliano. Washington appeared headed for a victory, leading 16-6 in the fourth quarter, but Oklahoma came from behind again. All 6 of Oklahoma's wins have been by a touchdown or less. This one, 20-16 on a last-minute Doug Williams touchdown pass. Los Angeles got their first victory with Steve Young at the helm, a 23-17 overtime win over Memphis that snapped a 5-game home losing streak, and the winning touchdown was scored by Young in overtime. San Antonio beat Jacksonville 20-0 before 38,000 fans in the Gator Bowl. Both of those teams 2-6 on the season. 2 important games tomorrow night. Tampa Bay will try to stay alive in the Southern Division as they play Southern Division co-leader New Orleans. John Walton, the New Orleans quarterback, has been sacked only twice this year. That's one of the keys to their success, along with the great running of rookie running back Buford Jordan. And also, Houston's Gamblers are 4-3. They'll visit Oakland to play the Invaders, who are 0-7 and only crossed midfield once a week ago against Tampa Bay. Today's biggest battle in the USFL is in Pontiac, Michigan, the Birmingham Stallions and the Michigan Panthers. Let's go back now to Tim Brandt.
A huge crowd in Pontiac, Michigan is being entertained at halftime by the coachmen, the sounds of the 50s, and a fine ball game at hand. Birmingham 14, Michigan 10. We have just gotten word from the Michigan locker room that Bobby Hebert has had his knee taped. He will play in the third quarter, and that has to make a major difference for Michigan.
That is good news for the Panthers and good news for us because he's a great guy to cover.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights of the first half. It was an exciting ball game, and of course, it was Michigan that got on the board first.
The key to this is the way Bobby Hebert stands in there despite a tremendous blitz by number 55, Herb Spencer, and look at Derek Holloway, number 29, coming underneath the coverage. Nobody home there with the linebackers gone, and it's just a foot race across field to the end zone.
A perfect call against that defense. Now Joe Cribbs slashes in.
Joe Cribbs just takes the ball and follows right in behind his center. He makes a hole for himself by sliding a little bit to his right and plows into the end zone. Joe Cribbs this time as a receiver. Cliff Stout is looking initially to his wideout, Jim Smith. Now he comes underneath, and the man on the coverage there is John Arnaud, number 25, the safety man, but Cribbs slips underneath him and gets in there for the touchdown.
Birmingham had dominated the time of possession, but Michigan came back just before half. This is Novo Biovic, a 56-yard field goal.
And, Tim, that is the second longest field goal in United States Football League history. The longest was set last season by Jim Asmus of the Arizona Wranglers against the old Chicago Blitz. So it was a matchup last season, but this was a great kick by Novo.
And what that kick has done is fired this crowd up here at the Silverdome at Pontiac. They are really ready for this second half. You can hear them in the background. There's our score, 14-10. We'll be back right after this message and a word from our local stations. 14-10 Birmingham. We're ready to start the second half. Enough preamble. Put it on the tee. Let's kick it off and go. Danny Miller kicks off. And it's a long, high kick. Bobby Futrell takes it a yard deep. Across the 10 to the 15, and he's nailed there. That was Earl Gant who made the tackle.
We talked about Raleigh ball, which is synonymous with possession football, and look what Birmingham did there in time of possession in the first half. They kept the ball 17 minutes and 35 seconds. Total yards, interestingly enough, they are second place, 188 to 251. That's because of Michigan's strong passing game.
Bobby Hebert was injured in the first half. He comes back into the ball game right now. We have word from the locker room that he suffered a strained ligament in the back of his knee. But it's a big ball game, perhaps Michigan's biggest of the year. And Hebert wants to play. Says he doesn't think it'll affect his mobility. He's a tough kid. First and 10 from the 17. Lenny Patrick, number 30, is into the ball game now for Michigan. The fake to Patrick. Hebert, pump fake. Should be pass interference. No flag throws. Hits to Holloway. Incomplete. Now a flag goes down, and there's going to be pass interference. Not on Holloway. I was watching this side over here. Walter Broughton. He was nailed by Ricky Ray up about the 37-yard line. And that's what it's going to be.
Ricky Ray is the man who had that altercation with Novo Bojovic just as we last talked to you before halftime. Let's see if we can see it. It's a great play action.
Illegal
fake
contact.
Here. Great drop back now by Hebert. He slides to his
First
left.
down.
Fake back to his right. He's looking for Derek Holloway, number 29 on the fly pattern. That was a catchable pass. He had beaten Dennis Woodbury, number 21. The pass interference, however, was to the other side of the field. We did not see it.
That's great composure on Hebert's part.
Look at this. That ball is catchable. That ball should be caught.
Hebert looked for Broughton. He saw him being held up and then went to the right side. Lenny Patrick, right side, has a hole. First down, Michigan. Lenny Patrick out of Alabama.
The point is, however, Tim, had Holloway caught that ball and gone into the end zone for the touchdown, they could have refused the penalty. Michigan would be leading in the football game right now.
Derek Holloway comes back into the ball game. Frankie McLean comes out.
Herbie Spencer, the leading tackler on the team for Birmingham, is taken out of the play there by Osborne and Penny, number 74 and 73. And now Michigan is giving Birmingham a little bit of its own medicine.
Two receivers come to the bottom of your screen. Walter Broughton, Derek Holloway. Holloway in motion. The fake to Patrick. Hebert trips over the referee. Herb Spencer, number 55 for Birmingham, was applying the pressure. Hebert tried to sprint out and ran over the referee. Now that is legal. The referee is part of the field. But he has to stay out of the way. That's his responsibility.
As the saying goes, it comes with the territory. Play action fake. Bobby Hebert trying to elude Herbie Spencer, number 55. Runs over the official right there. Actually, it's the official that brings him down. But frankly, Tim, I don't think he would have gotten away from Herbie Spencer because you can see that he's a little gimpy. That knee is taped.
He loses 14 yards on the sack. First sack of the day. But I think the sack should go to Burl Sogan, the referee.
All right.
It's second and 24 for Hebert. Throws deep. It was intended for Derek Holloway. Tremendous hit by Chuck Clanton. The fans thought the hit was out of bounds. Well, the referee, it looked like the side judge on that side, he took as much of a lick as did Derek Holloway. Chuck Clanton came over and was really headhunting. Now, Clanton, of course, played down in Auburn and only played 2 games his senior year.
Derek Holloway isolated here. You can see the double coverage because he's got a man short and a man long. Here comes Chuck Clanton, number 24. And there's the contact on the official right there. So we have 2 officials down in consecutive plays.
Clanton missed a practice. They wanted him to run the stadium steps with a brick in each hand. He refused and only played 2 games his senior year.
Holloway today, 2 catches, 52 yards, 1 touchdown. Now let me ask you this question. Do we have a backup official here today?
Well, you know this league played with 6 officials last year. They have gone to 7. So if they do lose 1, it'll be basically the same situation they had last season.
And you can see that it's his left knee, and it appears like he's banged up.
You could see in the replay where his knee gave way on the inside. Holloway landed right on it.
All right.
A lot of these officials are former athletes, and quite a few of them have had injuries prior to entering the game as an official.
They know the difference between pain and injury.
What's the difference? You can play with pain, you can't play with injury. There is no backup.
The word is there are no backup officials here today, so they will go with fewer officials if necessary.
You can see what the trainers are doing. They're putting what they call an air cast on the official's leg. They will blow that up so that the leg will stay immobile, so that he won't do any more damage to the knee, at least until they can get him inside and re-examine it. Let me set that Michigan offensive lineup for you while we have a break in the action. The quarterback, of course, is Bobby Hebert, the Cajun cannon from Cutoff, Louisiana. His running backs are John Williams. Lenny Patrick is in the ball game now. Lacey has gone out. And remember, Lacey may have suffered an injury in the first half. We'll try to get a report on that. Walter Broughton and Eric Holloway are your wide receivers. Mike Cobb is your tight end, who has caught a pass in every game since becoming the tight end for the Panthers. Tony Osmond, Ray Penny, Redloff, McGriff, and Chris Gottfried are your down linemen. The big, experienced offensive line.
And what's going to happen now with fewer officials is that there will be a reassignment of responsibility. So you're going to have fewer people covering more, and that's going to apply some extra pressure on him. You were talking about Bobby Hebert, who is nicknamed the Cajun Cannon. You know, the Cajuns are a fascinating group of people, and Cajun is short for Acadian. And these are people who migrated to southeast Louisiana back in 1775, and they really are a diverse group of people. There have been some outstanding athletes for Cajuns. The name Hebert in Cajun country is as common as Smith and Jones.
So Jim Fogeltance now has the air cast on. His knee is taped under the air. They put him in a mobile van, so to speak, that they used here for the ground crew. And they will take him down and try to get him some medical attention. Jim Fogeltance is the side judge. And now that responsibility with the clock that he holds down on the field will go to one of the other officials. It'll be Gabe Bryant, the line judge, who will pick up that responsibility. He will work both ways now, and as I mentioned to you already, they used only 6 officials last year in this league, and that's what they will do now. Since there is not a backup, the 6 now will just have to team up, watch things a little bit more closely. They will come in a little bit closer to the action. Now, a good official, they say, is never more than 5 yards from the football. Matter of fact, Burl Hogan did an outstanding job just a few minutes ago and actually got credit for the sack. It is 3rd and 24. The ball on the 25 for Bobby Hebert. He steps up in the pocket, throws, incomplete, intended for Walter Broughton. And Ricky Ray comes up and once again lays a pretty good lick on Walter Broughton. Now what that does, he's going to have his head on the swivel. He's going to be looking for Ricky Ray.
Ricky Ray, a very physical player who has had some good hits today. Walter Broughton, who had some big plays in the first half for Michigan, running a sideline cut. He makes an excellent move right here, comes back toward the football, but he loses his concentration. The ball was thrown high, and Ricky Ray is right there on the coverage.
2 of the most physical ball clubs you'll see in this new league. This is David Greenwood. He's not having a good day. Again, he shanks the punt. He's had a 32-yarder, a 25-yarder, and this one just barely makes it to midfield. Ray Bentley downs it there, but it's only a 26-yard kick. So Birmingham will once again have good field position. 12 minutes, 40 seconds remaining in the third quarter of play. There's your score, 14-10, Birmingham. The Stallions have scored the last 2 times they've had the ball. And once again, Cliff Stout starts near midfield. Excellent field position. Birmingham has the same starting lineup it had at the beginning of the ball game. Stout under pressure by Corker. Tries to get out and can't. He's sacked. Larry Bethea and John Corker take Cliff Stout down.
John Corker, who had only half a sack coming into today's game, got a sack earlier in the day, and he's blitzing now from Cliff Stout's blind side. He's the man who gets the first hit, and coming along to give an assist there is number 79, Larry Bethea. These are the 2 players who missed the last time we covered the game because of a suspension.
Ken Toler to the bottom of the screen. Jim Smith to the top. Darrell Mason's the tight end. The setback, Perry and Cribbs. Cribbs jumps. No flags yet. Now it flies. There will be a penalty against Joe Cribbs. We have a chance now to go down to Bobby Hebert. Herb Wenches, our sideline reporter, is with Bobby.
Thank you, Tim. Bobby Hebert, the knee is heavily wrapped. You had it wrapped at halftime because of the strained ligaments in the back of the knee. Has it affected your mobility?
Well, it's just really sore right now, and the tape's helping out a lot to support it. But, you know, we just got to move the ball the second half if we expect to win.
Did it feel good there, that first series?
Yeah, it's just sore. It feels pretty good. But I just have to suck it up and just go with it.
Okay, Bobby, thank you very much. You heard it, gentlemen. Bobby Hebert says he can go.
You can hear the booing at the Silverdome. Instead of Joe Cribbs jumping, which he did, they called the penalty against John Banasac of Michigan. So instead of 2nd and 20, it will be 2nd and 15 for Birmingham. Bad call. Joe Cribbs up the middle. Gain of 7. It'll be 3rd and 8. Let's take a look at that Stallion offensive team. And it's loaded. Cliff Stout, the quarterback. Joe Cribbs and Leon Perry, your running backs. Joey Jones out of Alabama. Jim Smith from the Pittsburgh Steelers, now an all-star in this league. Darrell Mason, your tight end. Pat Phoenix, Pat Saindon. Tommy Banks, 11-year veteran with the St. Louis Cardinals. Buddy Idolette and Robert Woods. Idolette was all-pro last year in this league. The nickel defense now for Michigan. Ron Osborne comes in. Lifts out to throw. Has time. Quick drop. Has the first down to Cribbs. And he holds on to the football. Pretty good tag there by Oliver Davis. And it looked as if Cribbs had lost the football. He held on for the first.
You see why Joe Cribbs is the premier all-purpose back in the league right now. At the top of your screen, on the left, he circles out, comes underneath the coverage. Will Coakley, number 58, is there. Oliver Davis, number 21, is there. The hook route, perfectly thrown, good contact. This is that kind of game. Straight ahead, no fair dodging. Jim Stanley said that earlier in the week.
Joey Jones to the top of your screen. Cliff Stout calls an audible. Leon Perry moves up behind the tackle. The give is to Cribbs, and he's nailed! Big number 65, David Tipton, out of Western Illinois.
What a story he is.
David Tipton went to camp with no fewer than 6 National Football League teams. It was his dream. He was cut time after time. Finally sent his wife and his daughter home to live with their parents while he went to Canada to give it one more try in the CFL. Finally got the call while he was working in a factory. Came back, and he's playing well. Lifts out. The pass. It's complete. No. They say it hit the ground to Ken Toller.
Ken Toller trying to run the quick sideline cut. Stout was low that time.
But the Michigan defense now is posing some problems. And we'll show you the talent on that Michigan line. Alan Hughes, David Tipton, and Larry Bethea. The linebackers, Kyle Borland, John Corker, Robert Pennywell, and Ray Bentley. 4 good ones. Oliver Davis, Clarence Chapman, David Greenwood, and John Arnaud are your secondary. It is 3rd down and 11 yards to the first. Stout stumbles out of center, throws deep, intended for Smith, way overthrown.
Jim Smith was open here, running a deep post pattern. Watch this, David Greenwood on the coverage. Actually, it's a fly route, and the ball should have been thrown with a softer looping trajectory over the inside shoulder. It would have been an easy touchdown. This is one of the reasons that Cliff Stout is occasionally booed. He has a tendency to be erratic.
Smith, who made 6 catches last week, had his first touchdown catch of this season, has been shut out here this afternoon. Walter Broughton calls fair catch at the 10. So once again, the Michigan Panthers find themselves backed up deep in their own territory, a 29-yard punt. The Michigan offense is about to take over. They need a score very badly here. They scored just before the half, but they've been backed up ever since. We should tell you that Ken Lacey has not played yet in the second half. Lenny Patrick is in the ball game. Lenny Patrick moves in front of Cleo Miller, who was last year's leading ball carrier in the championship game, a 15th round pick out of Alabama. Play action, right side. This is Lenny Patrick. Lenny Patrick has the first down for Michigan. There's Ken Lacey. Evidently, there is no problem with an injury. He is just not playing. He is standing between Anthony Carter and Tom Dornbrook, 2 other injured Panthers. There are the stats that he's had today. 18 yards, 7 carries. He signed a lucrative contract to play in the National Football League with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's actually smiling. Doesn't look hurt, Cupper.
However, we did see him holding his left shoulder. That is the shoulder he injured earlier this year in a game against the Pittsburgh Maulers.
He was booed vociferously by this crowd here at the Silverdome. Lenny Patrick, left side, spins off a tackle and gets a couple of extra bonus yards before Joe Cuglieri and Herb Spencer wrestling down.
Give an assist to Mike Murphy, too. He was really in there.
Joe Cuglieri, out of Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Came from New Jersey, activated after 2 games. Mike Perko, Jackie Klein, Joe Cuglieri, we just saw him, and Dave Purifoy make up that front 4 for Birmingham. Herb Spencer, Mike Murphy, the only 2 linebackers because they play so many defensive backs. Woodbury, Ray Clanton, Gentry, and Evans. Unusual defensive scheme. Eric Holloway in motion. 2nd and 4 from the 28. Inside goes Lenny Patrick. First down, Michigan. Lenny Patrick could have had more, but he tripped over his own lineman. 75, Tony Osmond.
We talked about the similarity of these 2 teams at the top of the show, Tim, and you see here that they're taking a page out of Birmingham's playbook as they come with a quick-hitting trap play up the middle. You see number 61, Tyrone O'Drift, pulling from left to right, and he creates a hole there for number 30, Lenny Patrick. Patrick now 3 carries for 35 yards
in this half. 7 minutes, 35 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. The fake to Williams. Hebert, 3-step drop across the middle. Broughton! First down, Panthers. Walter Broughton had Ricky Ray beaten and made the catch.
The timing on this type of route has to be perfect, and it is. The fake first to Williams. He whirls around and throws to Walter Broughton there on a quick post pattern, and there on the coverage is Ricky Ray. Look at it again from Broughton's point of view. He's down 12 yards. He cuts it to the inside, the quick post route. Ricky Ray, number 27, is a step behind. Bobby Hebert right on the numbers. Broughton now 4 catches for 82 yards.
That was a 25-yarder. He's out of Jacksonville State, Alabama. He was a running back in college. First and 10 from the 35. This is Lenny Patrick across. He cuts back against the grain inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. Well, good coaching move by the Panthers. Good change up in the backfield. Lenny Patrick for Ken Lacey.
Absolutely. And, Tim, so far this has been a game of quarters. Michigan dominated the first quarter. Birmingham dominated the second quarter. And now the Panthers have gone back to work here in the 3rd quarter. We thought it would be close. We thought it would be physical. It has been all of that and more.
Birmingham has been playing a lot of man defense. They look to be in a man right now. Now they drop off. They give some ground. Lenny Patrick, quick opener, final linebackers, into the secondary, down inside the 10. But there is a flag on the play.
Penny, number 74, totally dominating his man here. Look at this. However, it looks like somebody's going to be called. It looks like Penny is going to be called for holding on Thomas Boyd.
Illegal shift against the offense is declined. Holding, number 74 offense. Still 2nd down.
There you have it. Good call, Lee Grosscup. Ray Penny on the hold. So it'll be 1st down and 20, and the big run by Lenny Patrick is negated. Hebert now has Patrick and Williams as a setback. Broughton at the bottom of the screen. Holloway at the top of the wideout. Mike Cobbs, the tight end. Fade pattern. Complete. Did not have control of the football when he went out of bounds, and the crowd doesn't like it. Good coverage by Dennis Woodbury. Number 24. It was a fade pattern to Holloway, 21 rather. Fade pattern to Holloway. Did not have control out of bounds.
Holloway, number 29, on the fade route that Tim told you about. It means that he streaks and fades to the outside. Dennis Woodbury, number 21, on the coverage. The ball thrown over the outside shoulder. You see that he's in perfect position to catch the ball. He simply doesn't hold on to it. However, it was stripped a little bit there by number 21, Dennis Woodbury. It definitely was catchable. That's 2 times today that Derek Holloway has had a chance to make big plays, and he has dropped the ball. However, he did make one big play for a touchdown early on, and now it would have been called back anyway.
And they're going to tag on some more.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 30, offense.
Well, personal foul against Michigan's Lenny Patrick. And that moves it back to midfield. So after a very fine drive that had taken him down into scoring territory, the Panthers now go all the way back out to midfield. They've gone backwards, and that's a rookie mistake by Lenny Patrick. 2 wide receivers, twins to the top of the screen. Broughton and Holloway. Holloway in motion. First down, a taxi ride. 35 yards they need for the first, and it's incomplete. Well, they had what they wanted that time. They had John Williams, the running back, isolated on the linebacker, Herb Spencer, but they couldn't make the completion.
First down and a long taxi ride. I think I'd take a limousine for that one.
35 yards is a lot of ground to make up. So that'll bring up second down now. The distance remains the same. They need 35 for the first. That would take them down inside the 15. 5:41 to play in the third quarter. Man defense. Now they roll back in a zone. It's a combination. This is Walter Broughton. Knocked away beautifully by Robert Gentry. Robert Gentry out of Kansas is the late ad. He's playing for Fred Bohannon, who became ill before the start of the game.
Robert Gentry, number 34, is in perfect position here, and with perfect timing, he leaps up and swipes the ball away with his right hand and stops Walter Broughton from making a big play. From a different angle now, you see a better look at how just perfect the timing is. He leaps through the air, swats the ball away from Broughton.
There was nobody behind him. It could have been a touchdown. That'll bring up third and 35. The ball on the 49. Hebert in a lot of trouble. Throws it away. He's ridden out of bounds by the linebacker, Herb Spencer, who has been after Hebert all afternoon.
Birmingham officials are saying he threw the ball away.
I believe he did.
He did it effectively, though. He threw it upfield far enough that he didn't get called.
Hebert, 6 for 13, 131 yards today, gets away with this one.
More pressure here from number 55, Herb Spencer, the linebacker, the blitzing linebacker in the 4-2 nickel look. And watch now along the sidelines, and you see Hebert is just throwing the ball away. He wants to get it upfield as far as he can, so it won't look like he did throw it away.
David Greenwood back to punt. He's had a frustrating afternoon, averaging just 29 yards.
That's better. That's better.
He gets a whale of a kickoff, and Ron Frederick fields it inside the 10, and to me that's a mistake. A cardinal rule in football is you never recover or receive a punt inside the 10. Let it go into the end zone for the touchback. A 40-yard punt by Greenwood. Birmingham, you can hear him talking strategy. Meanwhile, the Birmingham offense is backed up inside the 10. The ball is on the 9. This is where the Michigan defense usually gambles. They'll blitz. They'll play games up front. X and stunt. Cliff Stout calls an audible. He sees the same thing we do defensively. Man covered. They give us a crib. Left side. Across the 10 to the 11. Larry Bethea and John Corker make the stop, and as Lee Grosskopf mentioned earlier, they're running right at John Corker. Having a pretty good ball game in New Jersey. The Arizona Wranglers still lead that one 6-3.
That is a must-win for George Allen.
New Jersey 6-1. Birmingham backed up. 2nd and 8 on the 11. Ken Kohler is wide out. Jim Smith is wide out. Again, Stout reads the defense and tries to automatize. I formation, 3-step drop. Pass to Smith. Close to the first down. There's a flag. Cliff Stout matured quite a bit last year in Pittsburgh, playing for the Steelers. He became the starter, took Pittsburgh to the 10-6 record. The penalty is against Michigan. A big break for the Stallions. Oh, it's true that Stout lost some confidence throwing 21 interceptions. He only had 12 touchdown passes. But the stats don't show he was sacked 51 times and had to run 87 times.
Offside. Defense. Decline. 3rd down.
To amplify on what you were just saying, Cliff Stout was booed unmercifully at times last year in Pittsburgh as the crowd awaited the return of Terry Bradshaw. Then those boo birds followed him to Legion Field for the opening game against New Jersey. He began to gain his confidence in the 2nd game, and he's been improving week by week.
Everybody in tight, 2 tight ends. Stout runs the quarterback sneak close to the first down. We'll wait for the signal. They love their football here in Michigan. So they move the chains. It is a Birmingham first down. Joey Jones comes back in.
Those lovely ladies are known simply as the Michigan Panther cheerleaders. As of right now, they are nameless. Same way with the Los Angeles Express cheerleaders. However, we suggested for them they should be called the Expression. Do you have a name for the Panther cheerleaders?
I think Michigan Panther cheerleaders is nice, just like the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Stout going for everything. Airs it out. Intended for Smith. Interference. Where's the flag? Now it's out. Oliver Davis put the clamps on him while the ball was still in the air.
Isolated on Jim Smith, the great one out of Michigan. He's running a fly route, takes it to the inside of number 21, Oliver Davis. Now there is flagrant interference, and there is the other kind, incidental contact. What do you think this is? Doesn't take a Phi Beta Kappa to call that one. Or a graduate of the... No, I will not say it.
Pass interference. Number 21 defense. First down.
Yeah, that brings a little smaller Raleigh Dutch. Jim Smith, 6 years with the Steelers. 110 catches there. Played on 2 Super Bowl championships. Doing the Stallions 6 games into the season last year and still made 51 catches. His best ever as a pro. 1st and 10 from the 35. Inside handoff for a gain of 4. Goes Joe Cribbs. What a difference Cribbs has made to the Birmingham Stallions.
You know, it was a perfect marriage because Birmingham had the best rushing team in the league last season, but they didn't have any player in the top 5 rushers. So they had this great line, but they really didn't have a game breaker. So this is a perfect union for Joe Cribbs and the Birmingham offensive line.
Ken Talton led the team in rushing last year. He's now a 2nd-teamer. David Tipton comes across and immediately points at Leon Perry, the setback. Ideal situation for Joe Cribbs, too, as we listen to the call.
Encroachment, number 65 defense.
Well, David Tipton's case was not pleaded very well. He's not happy, and it will go against him. They'll move him back a little bit farther.
As we look on the replay, you see that Tipton moved slightly before Perry moved. So the penalty goes against the Panthers.
The difference between great and good defensive linemen is so marginal, and so much of it has to do with anticipation and instinct. And he just jumped ever so slightly. 2nd and 1 now. A waist down. Stout can do almost anything he wants with it. He's going to pass. That's Daryl Mason with the first down. David Greenwood rides him out of bounds viciously, and those two have words. Let me reiterate a statement we made at the top. These two clubs don't like each other very much. They played twice last year. The first game was won by Michigan 9-7. The second one was won by Birmingham 23-20 in overtime. 2 games, a total of 5 points separated the two. And Michigan went on to win the first ever USFL championship. They are close in talent, similar in style. Minutes, 56 seconds to go in the third quarter. The ball on the 48. The down is first. Leon Perry's the ball carrier. Banging, spinning, turning, driving across midfield.
To add to what you just said, Tim, these two teams really don't like each other very much. There is an intense rivalry here. They met twice last season, but they will meet only once this year. This is it. They're going for all of it today. Straight ahead, no fair dodges. That's the word from Jim Stanley earlier in the week. The play you saw was being sent in from the sidelines by Coach Raleigh Dotch. They alternate their wide receivers, Jones and Toller, and they bring in the plays.
A very concerned Jim Stanley. An alert, Cliff Stout reads the defense, calls the audible, 3-step drop throws intended for Joey Jones. Overthrown. Now, Joey Jones is not a big receiver. As a matter of fact, he's one of the smaller pro receivers that you'll ever see. But he plays beyond his height. He's only 5'8", 165 pounds. The fans love him in Birmingham. He played at Alabama, and he runs a 4.40.
Some guys just think they're big.
It'll be 3rd and 7 from the 49. Man defense by Michigan. They're showing stunt. Here they come with a blitz. The pressure is on. Backside on Stout. Unloads across the middle to Smith. First down and more.
Backside pressure applied by Will Coakley, number 58. And Stout stood right in there. Watch Stout's blind side as number 58, Will Coakley, comes around. Look at that. He unloaded, and he was hit at the same time. Jim Smith, number 86, running a quick post pattern. And when you have the blitz coming, the best route to call is the quick post pattern to one of your wide receivers because it necessitates man coverage in the secondary. Oliver Davis has that man coverage, and he's beaten right there.
Michigan continues to move. Inside the 35. Stout throws. Overthrown. Intended for Jim Smith. We saw Birmingham play out in Los Angeles 5 weeks ago. And Cliff Stout then was just coming into his own. He was just then starting to feel the offense. And I think, Lee Groscup, that he has gained so much confidence, and the turning point may even have been the week after. When they went to Pittsburgh, it all seemed to come together before a sellout crowd that booed him vociferously.
Good point. He's been getting better every week.
2nd and 10 from the 32. High formation. You saw the clock. We're nearing the end of the third quarter. Play action. With time. Again, it's overthrown. Intended for Jimmy Smith. Late hit by Oliver Davis. And Smith is hurt. That was flagrant.
Absolutely. Jim Smith running a sideline cut after play action fake. And watch here, the ball is thrown high. Oliver Davis, number 21, gives him a real cheap shot right to the middle of the back. That is really a flagrant violation of the rules, and Jim Smith could be hurt badly from that kind of contact.
Well, in fairness to Oliver Davis, he did not lift his head to see that Jim Smith had already given up on the pass. You could see in the replay that Smith had given up on the pass, knew it was overthrown, and already started to pull back together. Here's the call.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness, number 21, defense.
Well, your point is well taken. Your point is well taken because Oliver Davis, even though it was a flagrant violation of the rules, certainly wasn't doing it intentionally, and I think that's what you're trying to say.
We'll get another look at it after this commercial break. Right now, while Jim Smith is still down and they work on him, let us take a break. We'll be right back. We are happy to report that Jim Smith is up. He's talking to the coaches now, and it looks as if on the sidelines he wants to come back into the ball game. He just went up and talked to Raleigh Dotch, and he's walking around now with his players, his teammates. He did not play last week against Jacksonville because he had an injured back, and he may have just re-injured the same old hurt or the same old wound that he had. But it was a tremendous hit. A penalty now against Michigan, and the crowd still is booing. Stout now goes to throw. Again, he goes to the same type of out pattern, and it's incomplete.
This time it's Mark Battaglia, the linebacker, who's on the hit. Michigan has been penalized 65 yards in this half.
Now, the ball was intended for Mark Battaglia.
I think we're both wrong. I think we're talking about a guard here, and
that's right. And it was a guard in that pattern. Now figure that one out. So Smith went out, and we're not wrong here. It was a guard.
So there's an illegal receiver downfield, is what you're saying.
And now Jim Smith comes back into the ball game. He's at the bottom of your screen. The top is Joey Jones. The situation, 2nd and 10 for Cliff Stout. Throws across the middle. Touchdown, Jim Smith. Well, he went over on Clarence Chapman. Oliver Davis came over to help out, but Jim Smith comes right back after the injury and scores the touchdown.
What a comeback by number 86, Jim Smith, who was just down along the sideline. He's on the right side this time, runs the quick post route again. Clarence Chapman, number 2, is right there on the coverage, but that ball could not have been thrown better by Cliff Stout. From his viewpoint right now, Jim Smith all alone. Watch how he makes his move to the inside. The cut is perfect right there, but the ball must be thrown with perfect timing because Chapman is in perfect position on the coverage.
Danny Miller's extra point is good. And Jim Smith, who caught a touchdown pass last week, his first of the year, comes back and now has 2 on the season. Now there's a discussion on the field. There's a fight down in the stands. And here's a call down on the field.
Holding, number 57 defense. Penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
So Danny Miller's kick is good. It does stand, and the penalty is against 57 John Corker. Well, things are heating up at the Silver Dome in Pontiac, Michigan. Our score, 21-10. The buzz phrase is ball control. Birmingham has had it. Michigan has not, and it's made a difference right there on the scoreboard.
On all 3 scoring drives, they have taken exactly 10 plays, and in each case used more than 4 minutes, just under 5 minutes.
That's a good point. And we add to that Birmingham has scored the last 3 times it's had the football. Bobby Futrell will field the ball deep in his own end zone, and he will not run it out. Jim Smith has become the story here in the 3rd quarter. Right now, Herb Wenches is with him on the bench.
Story is right, Tim Brandt. Jim, you took a vicious lick, but you showed a lot of class coming back for that touchdown pass. You wanted it, didn't you?
Well, I don't know if that was class or lack of common sense. I wanted to go back in, and luckily we called a pass play where I have an option, go to the post or go to the corner, and I was able to get inside on the post.
Congratulations, a big play.
Thank you very much.
Jim Smith, wide receiver, his 2nd touchdown catch of the season. Tim?
There's a man who tells it like it is.
Well, now the Michigan Panthers have to try to put together an offensive drive here. They had one last time, had a first down inside the 20 in Birmingham territory, but could not get anything on the board. Penalties killed them, moved them back to midfield. They had to punt it away eventually. With 1 minute remaining in the 3rd period here, they trail 21-10, and Bobby Hebert is trying to get the offense on track. Lenny Patrick bounces to the right side and picks up maybe a yard.
That is ice on the middle of Jim Smith's back. Actually, it looks like his lower back. He took a helmet from Oliver Davis right in that particular spot. It worried me when I first saw it.
Worried me as well. He had an injured back. And to take a lick like that is really tough. Derek Holloway in motion. 2nd and 10. Hebert throws to John Williams at the 20, the 25, the 27-yard line. He steps out of bounds at the 27.5-yard line. Good second effort by John Williams.
That is a good place to dump off against Birmingham, because in that 4-2 look, when the linebackers come, the man flaring out is usually open. Oklahoma did that effectively last week.
Williams, one of several players on the Michigan team from Wisconsin. Well, Arizona's gotten back on the board. George Allen has the Wranglers ahead 13-3 now. They led 6-3 last time we saw that score. It's late in the 4th quarter. Kevin Long, 2-yard touchdown run. Kevin Long had over 1,000 yards for the Chicago Blitz last year. Walter Broughton, Derek Holloway. Wide right. Holloway in motion. To fake to Williams. Play action right. Hebert started to run, then decided not to, and overthrew Lenny Patrick. It looked like indecision that time on the part of the quarterback, Bobby Hebert.
Lenny Patrick had some room in the secondary. Going back to that Arizona score, if the Wranglers hold on and win that game, they will be back in the hunt in the Pacific Division. The LA Express, of course, a team that's starting to develop. Steve Young was absolutely sensational last night. I have liked him from the very first. So, the Pacific Division that was very weak in recent weeks may be starting to shape up as a strong division again, with the exception of the Oakland Invaders, who are still winless.
The Express won that ball game in overtime. This is David Greenwood to punt it away. Again, it's not a particularly long kick. It's fielded by Ron Frederick on the 31-yard line. And again, David Greenwood is upset with himself. A 35-yard kick by David Greenwood.
Everything else about his game has been good today, but in the punting department, he has not been good. And as you look at that graphic, you see that he was the Big Ten high jump champion. He was the hero of the last game we covered here with a leaping late interception.
David Greenwood, a track star. You heard the gun. That's not to start the track meet. It's to end the 3rd quarter. The United States Football League game between the Stallions and Panthers will continue after this message and a word from your local station. 21-10, Birmingham leads Michigan. Birmingham has the football, and the story, quite frankly, has been ball controlled by the Stallions. And I have to wonder right now if Michigan may be losing its composure a little bit. Suffered its first loss of the year last week. Came into this game, confidence was a little bit shaken, and it looked as if Bobby Hebert and Jim Stanley were having a few words on the sideline. But Stout on 1st down. Looking deep, now in trouble. Fine runner, cuts back against the grain, picks up 6. Jim Stanley and Bobby Hebert get along so well.
As we look at the 3rd quarter numbers, Tim, you can see once again the importance of that time of possession. Birmingham has had 3 drives that took 10 plays and just under 5 minutes on each time. And right now they have also taken over the total yardage lead, 249 to 228. They were not ahead at halftime.
The point I was going to make about Jim Stanley and Bobby Hebert is the fact that they are in sync most of the time. They get along so well. They're both so competitive. I think right now they're just caught up in the momentum of this game. The Stout again shakes out of pressure, picks up the 1st down across midfield into Michigan territory.
You just brought up something that deserves a little amplification. You know, we talked to Michigan officials earlier this week, Tim, and they said it's something that I thought was interesting. They said the longer you win, the harder it is to lose. They had a win streak going. They lost last week to Oklahoma. There has been some frustration this week during practice. Perhaps that has become manifest now between Hebert and Jim Stanley.
Cliff Stout ran out of bounds to stop the clock on that play. He ran into a former teammate, Ray Penny, and they had words.
Vince Lombardi, Jr.
Club president, general manager, the Michigan organization. Before coming to the Panthers, he was with the NFL Management Council, where he was assistant executive director, the son of the legendary great Vince Lombardi of the Green Bay Packers. Cliff Stout again in trouble on 1st down. Rolls right, going to tuck it away. Gets close to another 1st down, goes Cliff Stout. Right now, let's go back to New York. Jim Lampley has this report.
Tim, in the third period, check at the fourth period, Arizona has lengthened their lead over New Jersey. 2-yard touchdown run by Kevin Long, who may be the first runner this year to go over 100 yards against the Generals. Key play in the drive, Frank Corral's run from punt formation for a first down after a bobbled snap. 13-3 Arizona, back to Tim Brandt.
When last we saw Frank Corral, we had dinner with him. He was telling us that he's lost about 25 pounds.
30.
He looks like a linebacker.
Yeah,
he's gotten the weight. Says he's faster than ever and he's stronger, so maybe they'll make him a running back. Who knows? First and 10 from the 37. John Corker jumps, no flag. Cribbs goes right side. The flags do come out now, and they will call a penalty against Larry Bethea or John Corker. Both were a little bit anxious on the right side of the Michigan defense, and things now are starting to fall apart for the Panthers.
John Corker, number 57, obviously
Offside.
violating the neutral zone right there, which is a euphemistic way of saying he was offside.
28.5 sacks last year for that guy, John Corker. Played at Oklahoma State for Jim Stanley. Was a roommate. Leon Perry up the middle, big opening into the secondary, down to the 15 to 12-yard line. Rolls Leon Perry.
Quick trap by Leon Perry. Look at Idlet, number 78, the left guard pulling. He kicks out to open the hole, and then it's a surge by this big, bullish fullback, number 30, Leon Perry, brought down in the secondary by Clarence Chapman and Tom Moriarty, number 45.
John Corker was in pursuit. I was about to tell you that he was the roommate of Dexter Manley of the Washington Redskins. Two outstanding athletes. Joey Jones, number 4, in motion to give. No, it's the fake to Cribbs. The bootleg by Stout. Stout inside the 10 to the 6. So, the Stout, we told you he's an outstanding running quarterback. He led the National Football League last year with 497 yards rushing and 77 carries.
Look at this, the old bootlegger, naked reverse. Look how John Corker, number 57, is faked out by the fake to Cribbs. And all alone out here comes Cliff Stout. He wisely goes down right there. That's something I wish Steve Young would learn how to do in a hurry.
Stout has 6 carries, 35 yards. In college, he carried the ball time and time again. He had 5,459 total yards, breaking the record by Ron Jaworski. This is Cribbs, left side, 2, down to the 1-yard line goes Joe Cribbs. Robert Pennywell and John Arnott had to come up to prevent the touchdown.
So once again, we have an impressive drive by the Birmingham Stallions. David Greenwood, it's reported, has sustained an injury and may not return to the game. Tom Moriarty, number 45, is there in place of it.
Tom Moriarty out of Bowling Green. As is our producer, Peter Engelhardt. Third down. 1 yard. Stout gets a good block and runs it in for the touchdown. An outstanding block by Pat Stainton, number 74 on the right corner.
Great block by Stainton. Super block. He knocked it right on the back.
Raleigh Dodge agrees. A great block by Pat Stainton on the corner.
Tim Brandt said it, and Raleigh Dodge said it. Pat Stainton, the strongest man on the team, makes the key block as he's leading Cliff Stout, and that is the 6th touchdown of the year for Cliff Stout. As you see, number 74, Stainton, ushering him into the end zone, hitting a block on Kyle Borland, number 52.
Danny Miller, number 1, out of Miami, is on to try the extra point. Danny Miller is perfect on the afternoon. The kick is good. Danny Miller was in camp with the Washington Redskins. Had a tremendous camp. Almost beat out Mark Mosley. They finally cut him after he missed 3 in a preseason against the Falcons, but now he's back. Birmingham 28, Michigan 10. An unusual situation for the Panthers. They certainly aren't used to this. It's close to being a blowout. And how critical is it now, Lee Groscup, for them to get back on the scoreboard immediately?
Most important drive of the day for the Panthers, because if they don't score now and Birmingham gets the ball back, with their type of possession football, it could be all over.
Danny Miller kicks off a little bit shorter than he has been kicking off, taken by Bobby Cutrell on the 3. Looks for some blocking, carries it out across this one to the 24-yard line. And now the fans are starting to leave the Silverdome here in Pontiac.
Well, it's hard for them to accept losing. They got spoiled.
Michigan had won 19 of its last 22 ball games. We told you they are the defending champions in the United States Football League. And you have to wonder if maybe some of the edge has come off the Panthers with all the wins and all the success they've had.
The story of this game has been Raleigh ball, possession football. Birmingham has done all the things that Birmingham does best. Jim Stanley was afraid of this game. He said coming into this week's game, he thought Birmingham was the strongest team in the league. They have the win streak to prove it.
So much so that Jim Stanley closed practices all week. Very unusual for him. The only other time he had done that was when they were ready to play George Allen's Arizona Wranglers. Bobby Hebert looks over the defense. 4-2-5 scheme. They're bringing the linebackers. Here comes Herb Spencer. Drops it over the middle of Lenny Patrick. Lenny Patrick takes it to the 36-yard line. Good read. An outstanding response by the quarterback right there, Bobby Hebert. Let's go downstairs now again to Herb Winchester.
Quarterback Cliff Stouter just had that bootleg for a touchdown. Cliff, you came to this football team with a reputation for being an outstanding runner. You proved that today.
Well, there's a lot of room to run out there. We were expecting some blitzes out of them, and they're reading our blitz audibles. I'm going back there, and everybody's back deep under our receivers. So there was a lot of room to run, and the kind of speed I have, you need a lot of room.
Quickly, Cliff, are you surprised the way that Birmingham has controlled this football game?
Not really. We have the capabilities to do this as long as we don't make mistakes. We started off the game shaky, and the way this team has hung together for the first 7 games before today, it's no surprise to me that we could rally back and start playing our brand of football.
First and 10.
Back up to you, Tim.
Hebert goes to Williams, a gain of 5. Good stop by Robert Gentry, who had Williams by the foot, or it could have been a bigger gainer.
We talked about this earlier, Tim. One of the areas that is open in the 4-2 nickel defense are the flat routes. You can hit the swing passes. Oklahoma did it effectively last week. Interesting thing about the 4-2 nickel, they started out with this look initially to stop Herschel Walker. They were so effective in the first game, they've stayed with it.
You would have to think, with only 2 linebackers, when they bring Herb Spencer, the linebacker, like they did that last time, that it'd be wide open. 2nd and 5. Hebert under pressure, drops it across the middle. It is stripped clean of Lenny Patrick again by Herb Spencer, who was playing an outstanding football game. Herb Spencer of Newberry College. Last week against Jacksonville, Spencer had a blocked field goal and an interception return 42 yards that set up the winning touchdown.
Bobby Hebert, 5-step drop here, looks to the underneath route. The ball is stripped away effectively there by number 55, Herb Spencer. Lenny Patrick was the intended receiver.
So it's 3rd and 5 for Michigan. And Broughton at the top of the screen. Derek Holloway to the bottom. The setback, Williams and Patrick. Pressure again for Hebert, and he bounces the ball to Holloway, woefully underthrown. Holloway was open. 9 minutes, 6 seconds remaining in this ball game. A critical drive, and right now it looks as if the Michigan players may be hanging their heads a little bit. David Greenwood, who was shaken up earlier, has not had a good afternoon punting. And that's 31 David Greenwood right there. Ron Frederick standing at his own 20. Will attempt to field the punt. Outstanding punt by Greenwood this time. Will be fair caught on the 21-yard line by Ron Frederick. So, with 8:59 remaining in the ball game, Birmingham gets it right back after that 37-yard punt by Greenwood. Birmingham Michigan 10, and the defending champions are taking an old-fashioned whooping here this afternoon at the Silverdome. Birmingham with the football, first and 10. 8:42 remaining in the ball game. They want to eat the clock, and they're going to go Joe Cribb across the 30. Has some room across the 40. Bangs his way out across the 45 to the 46-yard line. Goes Joe Cribb.
We said earlier that the story of this football game was volleyball, a.k.a. possession football. Look what Birmingham has done on their last 5 drives.
So Birmingham has stuck with its game plan and has done pretty much what it wanted to do coming into the ball game. Michigan has not really been able to. Has been handcuffed somewhat. Part of the problem has been Mike Cobb has not had a catch here this afternoon, the tight end. And he has a streak where he's caught a pass in every one of the Michigan Panther games. There's David Greenwood. He's been suffering with some poor punts this afternoon, and it looks like his bad back is really hurting him.
David Greenwood, you see right there, and watch him on the last punt. And you can see that he's straining here. He does not look comfortable. That is not a good drop. He's not reaching forward with it. Look as he comes down. You can see him holding his back right there, obviously in pain. That's another one of the keys today. This is a beat-up Michigan team right now.
2nd and 9. As the clock continues to roll. Joe Cribb picks up 3 yards. Cribb now has 111 yards. The third straight 100-yard game for Cribb. He had 134 against Jacksonville, 162 against New Orleans.
And he has scored 2 touchdowns, one by way of the run, one by way of the pass.
Now they corrected it, 19 carries for 117 yards with 6 minutes and 42 seconds remaining in this ball game. Short step, quick throw, complete to Jim Smith. Another first down for Birmingham. Now they're just eating up the clock.
This complements their ball control running attack when they throw these quick passes. This is the deep slant in route to number 86, Jim Smith out of the University of Michigan. Look at the hand-eye coordination and the way he looks that ball right into his hands before being tackled by number 22, David Chapman.
5:55 in the game. Cribb's right. Good play that time by the linebacker, Ray Bentley. He penetrated and took the legs out from Joe Cribb.
Former Defensive Player of the Year in the MAC Conference at Central Michigan. He is the leading tackler on the team this year, the leading tackler on the team last year, often overshadowed in publicity by John Corker. Another look at the outstanding Michigan Panther cheerleaders.
And the outstanding Philadelphia Stars. They've beaten the Chicago Blitz 41-7. Chicago had 7 turnovers in that ball game. Fake to Cribb, fake to Perry. Stout with pressure on the backside by Bethea. Now throws underhand to Smith. Gains 2 and gets it back to make it 3rd and 9.
Jim Smith really does a job here of assisting his quarterback. He's running a sideline cut. Now look, when he sees that Stout is in trouble, he comes back toward the football, gets right in between the ball and the receiver, and Tom Moriarty, number 45, has to come up to make the cut, or the tackle. Good job by Jim Smith. What a day he's had.
18.9 yards per catch, played on 2 Super Bowl championships. Super Bowl 13 and 14, when they beat Dallas and the Rams when he was with the Steelers. This time Stout unloads it quickly, intended for Leon Perry.
Jim Smith now has 5 catches for 55 yards and 1 touchdown.
Here's John Mitchell, the linebacker coach for Birmingham. He's the one that signals in the plays from the sideline, the defensive signals. Played at Alabama for Bear Bryant. Birmingham will punt it away. Bob Parsons, 87, has not gotten much work here in the second half, and he's going to go for the corner, try to kick it out of bounds.
He got it. What a great shot.
Referee brings it back up to the 7-yard line. So Bobby Parsons knocks it out of bounds on the 7. The Michigan Panthers need almost a miracle to come back here. 28-10, late in the fourth quarter. You see the time remaining, 4:58. But they have the firepower to do it. I don't think there's any question but the fact Anthony Carter's absence has severely hurt the power of this offensive team. Hebert in trouble, now steps up and throws. There's Mike Cobb. Now, we told you that he had to get in the game plan, that he hasn't been there all day, but his streak is alive. The first catch he's made today, and he still caught a pass in every single game that the Michigan Panthers have played. 28 straight games.
This is a good look at the 4-2 nickel defense of Birmingham, and you can see how the 5 secondary backs take their drop and how the linebackers operate underneath. Mike Cobb catches the ball, and he immediately has some company.
You have to wonder where Mike Cobb has been all afternoon, especially in this defensive scheme, which is vulnerable to the little pass over the middle under the secondary. Hebert again in trouble. Almost sacked at the 5. Now throws to Derek Holloway at the 30. Another Michigan first down. Couldn't break it because Robert Gentry was there, number 34, to make the tackle.
Robert Gentry playing very well today, filling in for Fred Bohannon. John Corker out of the game right there along the sideline.
Hoping that he doesn't have to get much playing time the rest of the way, only because he'd like to see the offense stay on the field, put some points on the board, and make it a ball game. Threes all the way across the clock. 3 minutes, 33 seconds. First and 10, Panthers. Here comes Herb Spencer, the linebacker, puts pressure on Hebert. Again, Holloway is open, and again the ball is poorly thrown. But in all fairness to Bobby Hebert, he was under a lot of pressure by Herbie Spencer, the linebacker.
Herbie Spencer has been in Hebert's face all afternoon. This is the guy who was the leading tackler on the Stallion team last season. He was one of the heroes of the defensive heroes of the ball game last week against Jacksonville.
Bobby Hebert looks a little bit frustrated. He's 11 for 22 for 181 yards on the afternoon. Last week, in the first loss of the season, he missed 21 passes in 34 attempts. Again, Birmingham shows blitz. Now they drop off, go to a zone defense across the middle. It's complete to Frankie McLean out to the 40-yard line, and it'll be another Michigan first down.
You can figure now that Birmingham will be faking the blitzes and giving them all of the underneath routes. They will bend, but they will not break.
The key for the Panthers now is to beat the clock. The clock is as much a foe as is Birmingham. That was the first catch of the year for Frank McLean. 2 minutes, 50 seconds now. Hebert. Long count again. Here comes the linebacker blitz. Chases him. And it's incomplete, intended for Frank McLean. Evans knocks him out of bounds. We understand now the game is over in New Jersey, and the Arizona Wranglers have won a must game, 20-3. So New Jersey now drops to 6-2. The Wranglers are back in the hunt. Out in the Pacific Division, Kevin Long, big day, 126 yards, 25 carries. Kevin Long, over 1,000 yards last year when they were the Chicago Blitz.
Part of a tandem of 1,000-yard rushers. Tim Spencer being the other.
Long count by Hebert. On 2nd and 10, steps into the pocket. To Frank McLean, who was open, he had the football and dropped it.
Well, that has been characteristic of the way things have gone today for the Michigan Panthers. There have been some drop passes throughout the afternoon that were real drive killers, and a couple of long passes that might have been touchdowns. McLean out of North Texas State running a sideline cut. Hebert looks left, throws right. You can see right there that no doubt about it, he is open. The ball very catchable. Closest man there is number 21 for the Stallions. That's Dennis Woodbury. Should have had it.
Now on 3rd and 10, Birmingham shows blitz. Bring everybody up with one setback in the secondary. Now everybody drops back in the zone. Hebert looks things over. Throws, complete, first down. Good clutch throw that time by Bobby Hebert to Frankie McLean, number 82. So McLean makes up for it and gets the first.
McLean, who dropped one on the right side, runs the same sideline cut to the left side. This time Hebert looks right, turns back to his left, throws the ball low and outside. This is an excellent sideline cut. McLean is on his knees. Once again, it's number 21, Dennis Woodbury, on the coverage.
McLean caught 19 passes last season, was a starter in the first ever Panther game in 1983. That was against this Birmingham club. And that was also before Anthony Carter came aboard and joined the Michigan Panthers. So we have the 2-minute warning, and our score remains Birmingham 28, Michigan 10, and the Panthers are struggling to get on the board and stay alive. There's the situation. We have 2 minutes from the Silver Dome in Pontiac, Michigan. Tim Brandt, Lee Gross Cup, Herb Winches with you. The score, the Birmingham Stallions 28, the Michigan Panthers 10. We want to welcome those of you that have been watching the Arizona game in New Jersey. Arizona won that one, a must game for the Wranglers. That's Jim Stanley. He is extremely concerned here. Michigan lost its first game of the year last week. They come back against a very strong Birmingham club, and they're losing here handily this afternoon. Eric Holloway scored first for Michigan, but then Joe Cribbs took over. Cribbs scored the next 2 times Birmingham had the football. This is Leon Terry on the little swing pass. Takes it across the 40 to the 39-yard line. I'm sorry, Lenny Patrick, number 30. Takes it to the 39-yard line. 1:44 remaining. It's been ball control offense for Birmingham, and it's worked successfully. Hebert, 2nd and 2. This is Derek Holloway. Holloway runs out of bounds on the 25-yard line. Had quite a ball game in the first half. Derek Holloway scored first. Michigan drove the length of the field the first 2 times it had the ball, scoring once, turning the ball over the second time. Then Joe Cribbs scored to make it a tie ball game, 7-7. Joe Cribbs hooked up then with Cliff Stout to make it a 14-7 Birmingham lead. And just as the half ended, Novo Biovic kicked a 56-yard field goal to bring Michigan back to 14-10. But in the second half, it's been all Birmingham. Stout to Jim Smith, and Cliff Stout ran one in from 2 yards out. And that's been the scoring, 28-10, Birmingham. First down, 10 to go. Hebert under pressure, throws across the middle, incomplete. Intended for Frank McLean. And that's been the story of Michigan's offense the second half. Missed passes.
Exactly. This is indicative of many of the problems that Michigan has been having today. Dropped passes, penalties. Murphy's Law. Just about everything that could go wrong has gone wrong today. Frank McLean, you see right there, a catchable pass. He drops it.
Keep in mind that the Michigan Panthers are playing without Anthony Carter, who was out 6 weeks with a broken arm. So Frank McLean, who did not have a catch before this ball game this season, has been playing quite a bit. It's close to another Michigan first down. Again, it's Frank McLean. Bobby Hebert was shaken up in the first half. He went out with a knee injury, but they taped that up at halftime, and he came out and he's played ever since. Ken Lacey started the ball game. We told you before, Jim Lampley did at the top of the broadcast from New York, that Lacey had signed a National Football League contract with the Kansas City Chiefs. He had a rough start. They took him out of the ball game, and he has not played since. Lenny Patrick out of Alabama has replaced him. Also, David Greenwood, the strong safety for Michigan, has been playing with a sore back.
False start, offense.
But all that means is that the Michigan Panthers, the defending champions in this league, are in bad shape as they hit into the toughest part of their schedule. Coming up, they play Tampa Bay, New Jersey, Houston, New Orleans, and Philadelphia, along with the Los Angeles team that is getting stronger every week. Those teams have a combined record of 33-14. So Michigan has a tough way to go to repeat as champions this season. 1st and 15 for Hebert. Throws to Holloway, who trips up. The ball is overthrown, incomplete.
Again, Tim, it's been this kind of day as we look at Derek Holloway in isolation. He's running an out-and-up move here along the sideline. He's covered by number 26, David Evans. He loses his stride right there, and the ball is overthrown. He's had 4 catches for 78 yards. One of those early in the game was a big touchdown catch, but he's dropped some key passes, too.
We had a crowd of over 50,000 here at the Silverdome this afternoon. Most of those folks now have left to beat the Trapper. Derek Holloway in motion. 2nd and 15. Hebert under pressure, steps up in the pocket, drops it across the middle. That's Lenny Patrick down to the 10-yard line.
Lenny Patrick, who has been filling in for the aforementioned Ken Lacey, has had a good second half here. He's been effective both as a runner and as a receiver. And Tim, you talked about what Michigan has ahead. Conversely, Birmingham looks to be in good shape as you look at the remainder of their schedule.
19 straight passes by Bobby Hebert now. If you're on the defense, you just sit back and let them throw. There's our score. 54 seconds remain in the ball game. Birmingham 28, the Michigan Panthers 10. And the Stallions are coming with a blitz. Hebert under pressure, now throws. Intended for Mike Cobb. Incomplete. Good defensive play by David Evans. Now they throw the flag and say it was too good. Pass interference.
David Evans, whose title is X-back, as in extra back, fastest man in the secondary. Key coverage. Let's watch David Evans, number 26, as he's covering the tight end Mike Cobb, number 89, on a crossing route.
Pass interference.
They are calling pass interference.
Number 26 defense. First down.
Penalties, a big story here in the second half and throughout the game for Michigan. 10 times for 83 yards, 80 of those yards in this half.
First and goal from the 5. Derek Holloway in motion. Walter Broughton is the other wide out on that side, and again, Hebert's in trouble. The whistle blows, and he goes down. Dave Purifoy, number 75, tracked him down from behind. 11 years in the National Football League. Played for the Lions and right here in this stadium at the Silverdome.
So you can reverse the numbers on that last graphic because Birmingham has only been penalized 3 times for 15 yards, Michigan 10 times for 83 yards. Penalties, drop passes, turnovers. That's been the story the last 2 weeks for this Michigan team. We said earlier, it's tough for this team to get used to losing. The longer you win, the harder it is to get used to losing.
Bobby Hebert comes out of the ball game and takes a seat on the bench for the last 45 seconds. The new quarterback is number 10, Whit Taylor out of Vanderbilt. We saw him at the end of the first half when Hebert went down with a knee injury. He was sharp. Whit Taylor in the first half, 3 passes, 1 completion. Lenny Patrick, John Williams to setbacks. Derek Holloway in motion. 45 seconds remain. Again, the pressure comes inside. Whit Taylor steps up, has a man. Touchdown, Walter Broughton. The Michigan doesn't quit. The Panthers come back and score. Outstanding read. Great composure by Whit Taylor for the touchdown pass to Broughton.
Walter Broughton, number 24, the former running back out of Jacksonville State, makes a good move here, and when he sees his quarterback in trouble, he goes to the outside right there. Whit Taylor stepping forward in the pocket, and the former great player out of Vanderbilt finds his man in the corner of the end zone.
Novo Biovic comes on to attempt the extra point out of Titograd, Yugoslavia. The snap to hold the kick, it's up and it's good. So Michigan keeps the fight, but it's too much, or too little too late, rather, with 39 seconds remaining. And the score, 28-17, Birmingham. There's your score. There's your time. The Birmingham Stallions have done everything they've wanted to this afternoon after 2 early drives by Michigan. Birmingham has controlled the football using Joe Cribbs in a short passing game by Cliff Stout. Novo Biovic now obviously going after the onside kick. 10 yards. Ron Frederick gets it back for Birmingham. He's a wide receiver, has sure hands, tough body, went down with it. And now Birmingham has only to run out the clock. Novo puts his hands in the air. It's been that kind of afternoon for Michigan. Raleigh Dotch, head coach of the Birmingham Stallions, has himself some kind of football team.
And we said earlier in the year, Tim, that we thought that Cliff Stout and Joe Cribbs would have an immediate impact on this team. They have indeed. Cliff Stout has thrown for 2 touchdowns today. He ran another one in himself. Joe Cribbs ran for 1 touchdown, caught another touchdown pass, and now all they have to do is the old quarterback fall down play. Their game is called Raleigh ball, which is synonymous with possession football. At Tampa Bay, they call it bandit ball, which is synonymous with unpredictability. So we have Raleigh ball today. We had bandit ball earlier in the year, and this is the team that is the best team in the league in terms of possession football. Cliff Stout, as you look at his numbers reflected right there, 15 of 23, 133 yards, 2 touchdown passes. He ran one in himself as he scrambled out along the right sideline.
Cliff Stout, as sharp as I've ever seen him, led the Steelers to the NFC Central Division title with a 10-6 record last year. Comes into this league, was a little bit shaky at the start, but now he's as sharp as I've ever seen him. Both clubs came into this ball game with 6-1 records. Birmingham, atop co-leaders of the well-balanced Southern Division. Michigan, 6-1, on top of the Central Division. But this is the second loss in a row for the Michigan Panthers, and we haven't seen that club suffer 2 straight since early last season when they were 1-4. But then they came back, rebounded, and won the championship. They had won 19 of 22 before this one.
It means now that Michigan will be tied for first place in the Central Division with Oklahoma, who defeated Washington last night. Birmingham, the class of the league, I think, right now, Tim, after this convincing win today.
And we mentioned to you that the toughest part of the Michigan schedule is coming up right now. Teams that have a combined record of 33 and 14 records. So Michigan, extremely banged up now, has to regroup, come back, try to find the strength that took them to the championship game. Once again, there's our final score. Birmingham, 28, extremely impressive. Michigan, 17, second loss in a row. For Tim Brandt and Lee Grosscup, we now go back to New York, and Jim Lampley with this report.
So Birmingham, now 7-1, has put the pressure on New Orleans to beat Tampa Bay tomorrow night to keep pace in the Southern Division. And Michigan, with its second loss, drops back into a tie with expansion Oklahoma in the Central Division. Elsewhere today in the United States Football League, in case you were late joining us, Arizona beat New Jersey at New Jersey 20-3, a must-win for Arizona. It keeps them within 3 games of division leading the Denver Gold in the Pacific Division. Kevin Long, 25 carries for 126 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's the first runner this year to go over 100 yards against the Generals, and his running was the key factor in the ball game. We're picking up now with highlights of Arizona, New Jersey. In the first quarter, Landry got Arizona on the board first with this 19-yard touchdown pass to Larry Douglas, capping off a 74-yard drive, and that made it 6-0 when the kick was blocked. At the end of the second period, the Generals got a field goal to narrow it to 6-3. Then in the third quarter, Kevin Long scored on that 2-yard run to make it 13-3 after Frank Corral had run out of punt formation for a first down on a bad snap. Long later scored again from 9 yards out. Once again, the final in that one, Arizona 20, New Jersey 3. Philadelphia beat Chicago 41-7, an easy victory for the Stars, which has given them a 1-game lead over the New Jersey Generals in the Atlantic Division. First half was the whole story here. In fact, the first quarter produced the deciding points. After Sam Mills' fumble recovery early, Chuck Bucina hit Willie Collier from 19 yards out. It was 7-0 Philadelphia. Then there was a reverse punt return, which went for 33 yards, followed by this Bucina to Steve Folsom touchdown pass, 25 yards, 14-0 Philadelphia. Still 7:55 left in the quarter when Jim Stone took a pass from Vince Evans for the blitz, and you'll see Stone fumble the ball into the hands of Scott Werner of Philadelphia, and Werner went in from 35 yards out. It was 21-0 Philadelphia. Sam Mills, in addition to the fumble recovery, had 2 interceptions in the first quarter. Here's one of them as Evans threw over the middle. Mills picked it off and ran it back for a short distance. That set up a 1-yard touchdown run by David Riley, which made it 28-0 Philadelphia with 6.5 minutes still left in the first quarter. Later, they got a field goal from David Trout. The 31 points in the first quarter were a new league record, so were the 34 at halftime, and Philly went on to a 41-7 win. Yesterday's games, very quickly, Denver came from 21 points down to beat Pittsburgh 31-21. Los Angeles beat Memphis 23-17 on an overtime touchdown by Steve Young, the Express first win with Young playing quarterback. San Antonio beat Jacksonville 20-0 before 38,000 in the Gator Bowl. Oklahoma moved up to 6-2 and got the tie in the Central Division with the 20-16 win over Washington in that ball game. Oklahoma got the victory despite falling down 16-6 in the fourth quarter. All 6 of the wins for Woody Woodenhuffer's team have come by a touchdown or less. In fact, Oklahoma's Outlaws have been outscored 151-130 on the season, yet they are tied now for the division lead in the Central Division with last year's champions, the Michigan Panthers. Tomorrow night, 2 important games in the league. Tampa Bay is at New Orleans, a must-win for Tampa Bay if they want to stay in contention in the Southern Division. If New Orleans goes to 7-1 along with Birmingham, it would be very difficult for the Bandits to play catch-up. Also, the Houston Gamblers at 4-3 will visit the Oakland Invaders, who are 0-7. And, of course, the Invaders have shown no offense so far. They have moved past midfield only once last week. Standings in the league right now, as we mentioned, in the Atlantic Division, Philadelphia now with a game lead over New Jersey. And in the Southern Division, it is still Birmingham at 7-1. New Orleans can catch them with a victory over Tampa Bay tomorrow night. In the Central Division, of course, the tie now between Michigan and expansion Oklahoma. And in the Pacific Division, the Denver Gold, led by Coach Craig Morton and his somewhat unorthodox records, on top of the Arizona Wranglers by 3 games, the Gold at 7-1.